Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. Today, it is Tuesday, May 21st. And we got a back we're going to be going through a lot of Lions topics to get to, of course. Tim Twentyman's notes, what he expects at OTAs. We'll get into OTAs, what we expect, because the first day, media was not there. But over the next couple of days, I'm sure you'll see more on whatever social media platform you have regarding the Lions. We're also going to go through our top 10 Detroit Lions players, which I am excited for this. It'll spark some debate. Klotz is out tonight. He's not feeling well, but he'll be back tomorrow. So we'll save his list. He can come break it down when he returns. We'll shred him then. But for right now, fellas, how are we feeling tonight?
Beautiful. Do you guys see my face? I think I'm breaking out, boys. The heat. Hey, something's happening.
Happens to the best of us.
Hey, sun's out, man.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Hot as fuck the past 3 days, okay, but I'm doing great, fellas.
Skin disease.
I missed you guys. I missed the chat. I'm ready to have a fucking Tuesday.
Let's go. Yeah, Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday. John Macron joins the show. It's a good week as always. I mean, I said this, and we say this a lot off air, but I just can't wait. I hate May, June, July. Can we just get to August, September? That is what
weird time. It feels really weird.
Oh, it always is. It's the dead period. You have NBA playoffs, which, hey, I'll tune into the Pacers, Celtics. I'll tune in. I'll tune into the Timberwolves and Mavericks. I'll tune in.
Technically, we won't because they play when we're on air, but
I'll watch
when we can. You'll tune in when we can.
Yeah. I cannot wait until college football, the NFL. I cannot wait till there's just some sort of football back outside the UFL, but actual the Saturday, Sunday, waking up. Here we go, boys. There's football. It's weird right now. It's really.
I don't want to be this guy to wish away the summer, but bring me.
I'll do it,
man. Bring me football.
Yeah, he is right.
Hockey. Bring me fall golf. I don't care.
He is. I love the summer. I love the weather. I just hate the period where we're just talking OTAs. And we're talking about random quarterback rankings, and
it's brutal.
Yeah, it's just absolutely brutal. I can't.
As long as the people are here, that's all that matters, though.
Yeah,
it's not even just football season. It's just the end of July. Once August hits, we're good, because then it's really just this. It's May and June, and then once you start getting into July, because then you start getting training camps, things start to actually develop. We could start breaking down college football, breaking down the full NFL and predictions, but it's you're in this lull right now. But I did see Mike Reed here just put in here, said, Booner, any OTA news? There's nothing. I don't know if people know this. The media is only allowed to go, I think it's every third day. So there's 9 total. 9 total practices, not counting the mandatory minicamp, and the media only goes every third day, so they get 3 basically practices. The media is there, so I don't think anyone got anything out of today besides pictures. Got some pictures, good pictures too, brother.
Good pictures,
a lot of good pictures.
Yeah, no, great pictures. Like I said, we'll be going through what Tim Twentyman expects. There's a video on our channel posted today. I went through it, kind of gave what I expect to see, and now the fellas will get to share kind of their thoughts on what they want to see for OTAs, and not just OTAs, but really the rest of the summer heading into training camp and so on and so forth. We'll discuss that at 8:15, and then, of course, like I mentioned, top 10 Detroit Lions players, 8:45, 9 o'clock.
Big one.
We're gonna talk about some Robert Woods because, hey, Robert Woods, he's been kind of trending around Lions Twitter. He is somebody that he's part of the Texans right now, has a relationship, has a rapport with Jared Goff. And I think that Texans wide receiver core, he's kind of getting squeezed out. So, potentially someone to watch, maybe to pick up late in the summer, if not, maybe trade for it. But we'll get to that in the second hour. Bon J says, are you guys going to get Lions sideline access media credentials?
I was just typing up to reply.
No, you can respond to it, Boone.
Me and Jeff had the conversation this morning actually about it. We're gonna attempt to get some credentials, but from what I've heard, it sounds like a lot of people, especially with the way the Lions are right now, how good they've gotten. There's a lot of people out there trying to get them, and obviously we're growing, so it's hard. It's not in a completely established show, but we're gonna do everything we can to try and get on the field. Get some credentials here so we can get there. I would like to do some insider information here. I can't do insider information in the basement. Got to have feet on the ground.
Fair.
Got to have boots on the ground.
Yeah.
I see this comment here, Coach Walk. I'm watching now. This should be good. I'm a basketball junkie. And then we had this comment, Dark Flame. There's other sports to talk about besides football. Yeah, well, it is fair. Football is king. We would agree. We are going to talk about some NBA playoffs because, like I said, the Pacers and Celtics play tonight. And the Mavericks and the Timberwolves are going to start soon. And Tim Connolly is not the season's not over. So the president of basketball operations for the Timberwolves, Tim Connolly, who a lot of Pistons fans want, he's technically not, I guess a free agent yet. He's he has an opt out of this year for the Timberwolves. I don't know if he'll even leave. Pistons are interviewing some guys, some president of basketball operations guys. I like some of the candidates; they're not bad. But the interesting part of it is whoever they hire, they're going to have full control to make whatever decision they want to make. If they want to fire Monty and Troy Weaver, they can do so.
Weaver, bye-bye.
They can fire both of them. So, I think at least one of them will be fired. I think that'll be Troy Weaver.
Monty's not getting fired.
No, I don't think so either.
But with Monty, there's no way.
No, I don't think so either. But what do you guys think of the playoffs so far? Anthony Edwards, they just took down the Nuggets in 7, came back down 20. And he didn't even play well, but the Timberwolves just as a whole is kind of making a run here. But Minnesota gives me hope because they found a legit franchise player, and Minnesota as an organization has been laughable. I mean, even going back to, I guess the last point of relevancy would be Kevin Garnett. And I think they made a conference finals, I believe, with him. And they lost.
They did. Yes, they did.
So that was kind of the last piece of relevancy, I mean, at least for the Timberwolves. But yeah, they have a chance to make the NBA Finals. The Timberwolves.
It's crazy. The Timberwolves. The coolest thing to me, I was thinking about this the other day, is when you look at the teams remaining, there's going to be a new champion that we haven't seen in the last couple of years. But even with that, if you look at every team, like the Celtics with Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, and who's the other one? Oh, Tyrese Halliburton.
Yep, Tyrese.
This kind of, it feels like a little bit outside of I know Jokic, but it feels like it's kind of like the handing over of the torch here to this new NBA and these new guys. Now you're about to have a new champion, and it's going to be one of these new guys who've just entered the league the last couple of years, which is really cool. There's no LeBron in it. You're not seeing Kawhi, Paul George, some of these old dudes who are typically in it. No staff. These are guys that are typically in it every year, and this is the first time now to where it's these new guys are here, and now it's the NBA has changed. I think it's officially new NBA. It's a brand new era. You see these eras 90s, early 2000s, the kind of the 2008 to 2015, or up until the LeBron era, and then now it feels all right, this is a new era of NBA basketball, it's crazy to see it happen in front of our eyes. Wish the Pistons were a part of the new era because they're not, but that would be pretty sweet, and they just don't have one of those guys right now.
Do you guys think that the Celtics could finally get it done this year? And one thing, obviously that Nuggets game was insane, the collapse. What did the coach flip out on the reporter about? What did that reporter say? Do you guys know?
He asked Mike Malone about the feeling of losing after being up 20 or something like that, because they were in game 7. And he was like, what? We lost. I don't care about, he's disregarding the 20. It's just we lost. That's what matters. It sucks. And he's stupid question. It was something I'm well, that's a fair question. I thought the question was fine.
I think I'm not going to give him any. There's times after games, especially like that, when you feel you should win the championship and you had a 20-point lead and you lose, that you're probably pretty frustrated after the game.
Oh yeah.
So I don't. There's emotions. We're all human. I let Mike Malone do it. You know what I mean? I don't.
He cares.
I know you have to hold your composure as a coach sometimes, but again, we're all human. You were up 20 to go to the final or to the conference finals, and you blew that. If someone reminded me of that right after, I'm dude, I just lived that.
You got to expect that, though. You blew a 20-point lead. You go talk to the media after the game, calling it a stupid question. I get it, though. I guess you're heated. You didn't probably expect to blow a 20-point lead. You expected to be in the Western Conference Finals. So I get it. But geez, you got to hold some composure. You're a coach. Calling it a stupid question after the whole reason it's a stupid question is because you couldn't coach and you blew a 20-point lead. So
it's fair. Even Bon Jay says, did any media members ask MCDC how it felt to lose the NFC Championship game after being up at half?
Did they?
I would assume. I
would think. I wonder how
my head. If they didn't, then that's disappointing.
I'm going to go back and look how Dan handled that. I'm gonna go back and look.
I think Dan's he handles that stuff pretty cool.
He didn't say it was a stupid question. We probably would have heard about it. So
yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head if they asked him. They should have. If they didn't, I would assume they did. But I don't think MCDC, he's not the type to. You could tell when he's upset, when he's frustrated, but he never takes it out on media. Like,
but I mean, like, how do you feel after blowing a 20-point lead to go to the conference finals? Oh, I feel great. Yeah, we feel good about the next game. No, there is no next game. Like, at the end of the day, it is like whoever the media maybe respect, with all due respect, probably not a great question to ask. Like, if you're in one of those rooms in the Western Conference or in the NBA, that's probably not a question to ask. How are you feeling? Like, you know how I'm feeling.
Or maybe you phrase it like, what went wrong? You know,
yes.
What went wrong?
And who knows? Do you actually know that's like how he phrased it? Is how are you feeling? It just doesn't seem
something along those lines.
Yeah.
I didn't
if that was how he asked it, I have a problem with it.
But who do you guys have winning it all? Or who do you want to win it all, rather?
I'll say this, Boone. I have the Mavericks over the Timberwolves, and I have the Celtics over the Pacers, but I think it's going to be a long series. I think the Pacers are going to give them a run for their money, but I'm going to go with the Mavericks.
So yeah. I'll go both here.
To win the NBA championship, by the way.
Yeah, I've been pretty vocal the last about month here that I want Luka Doncic to go get a trophy. I want him to win one so bad because I said this before. He should have won MVP this year, averaged 34 points per game, almost a 34-point triple-double. He should have won MVP this year, and he just keeps getting snubbed of it. I think if he goes and wins an NBA championship, it opens up people to say, oh, maybe Luka Doncic is actually a dude, and next year he goes out and wins MVP. I think he needs to, like, open that door. I don't know why he's the guy that has to do it like that, but that's just what it is for him. So I think I want the Mavs to do it. I think the Mavs will beat the Timberwolves. I think the Celtics will win, and I think somehow, some way, that Mavs team is going to find a way. There's just something about them. Like, they were down the other night and they ended up finding a way to come back on the road versus the Thunder, which is the number 1 seed. Like, they've found ways to get it done. There's something with, like, Luka, Kyrie. They're starting to find something. And then those role players, fellas. Oh, they've got, and they're missing Max Kleber, and he's like a big time player. So maybe he comes back for the finals if they make it.
You know, I want Dallas to win. I want Kyrie to have to go back into Boston and play in the finals. But I wouldn't hate if Minnesota did win. I think that matchup is probably going to go to the distance, either 6 or 7. And I do think the Celtics are going to run through the Pacers. I think that one will be 5-6 maximum, maybe. I think the Celtics will have their way with the Pacers. Be a fairly easy season. They don't play, or series rather. I don't think the Pacers defense is going to be up to par. Even with the Celtics struggling, they've been very kind of inconsistent as far as scoring wise. It's usually like a new guy every night that's taking the crown, but I think Boston's going to win that series for sure.
Dude, I know. And I did the show with Sean. I do every single Monday from Half Court, and we previewed the Bucks Pacers, and I didn't know Giannis would be out, but I've been kind of with the Pacers this whole kind of play. I just think they got Siakam, and I think that changed a lot for them. And I think they're a team that, yes, they don't defend well, but you got to run with them. Like they can play in transition up and down the court. So
they can score the rock too.
I did forget about this too. I brought this up when Sean was on our show too. If KP's out,
that's where it's
going to make it a lot more difficult too, because even Miles Turner's been playing well too. So.
I think the series goes 6 or 7. I think it ends up turning into a series. Like, when they go back to Indy, it's tough to win in Indy. I think it's tough to win in Indy. So I think 6 or 7. I think the Celtics win it. Like, imagine like a game 7 in Boston. I would have to take the Celtics in that. They're probably going to be like an 8 point favorite.
I would agree with that.
I wouldn't be shocked if this became a series, and I wouldn't be shocked either, guys, if the Pacers did end up winning it. I wouldn't sit there and go, whoa. They're a hard-nosed team.
I think the champions in the Western Conference. I think it's I think the way Minnesota's playing defensively, they're really good. I mean, they have the best perimeter defender on their team in McDaniels, but also the thing Dallas has to kind of overcome is that front court for the Timberwolves. I mean, you have Cat and Gobert. They have to kind of match up a certain way with those two. So that's probably the biggest matchup, because you think defensively they're going to have
What, Gafford?
Yeah, well, it's tough because you have Luka and Kyrie. I'm assuming that Ant's going to be on Kyrie.
PJ Washington.
PJ's probably going to be on Ant. You know,
that would be my original. Like if I had to pick a matchup, PJ versus
Ant.
And
I think Jay McDaniels will probably be on Luka. You know, so they can give him some problems.
Ant's going to guard Kyrie. I don't know if you saw after the series. He was like, he said, my matchup, I already know my matchup, and it's Kyrie Irving. So
he's going to make that man run around and chase him. So running through screens and like it's going to be a big series. He's got to play. He's got to be Superman again.
I hope it goes 7. I want to see every minute of that series.
Yeah. Wolves are fun to watch, man. I know, the Pistons, it's been rough, but you look at the Wolves and what they're doing. Yeah, they had the number 1 pick and they took Anthony Edwards, who is like the next face of the league. If he's not already, he's already that guy, the way he's playing. But man, I remember there was a point in time where people were like, you got to trade Cat. Like Karl Anthony Towns just stinks. And he played well in game 7. He had like 20, he had like 20 and 10.
He's a knockdown shooter. Is a 7-footer. Like
he played pretty well all year before he got hurt. He was balling, and obviously he's came back from that injury and played pretty well in the playoffs. So there was a lot of question marks around Cat at first, but he's answered some.
Well, I'll tell you, a man who always answers questions is Tim Twentyman. He's damn good at it. And he wrote an article on DetroitLions.com talking about OTAs for the Detroit Lions and some things that he's expecting to see. We're going to go through, look at his list, and then, of course, give our thoughts on what we're looking to see and kind of bounce off what, Tim was talking about here. So let's pull up his article. Again, it's on DetroitLions.com, and we'll check out what he said. Again, it's 5 things. We'll start with number 1, and that number 1 thing is a revamped cornerback room, which I think we all kind of, that's kind of been the talk of the offseason, right? I mean, what they did. Trading for Carlton Davis, signing Amik Robertson, re-signing Emmanuel Mosley, who I think we just kind of dismiss a lot when we talk about the quarterback room. But Kendall Vildor, he's not going to be nowhere near in the same role he was. And they drafted Taron Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. This is something Tim kind of goes into in the competition and where guys, match up and who wins certain battles. The thing that I talked about today on in the video I posted on Crunch Time, going through my things I'm looking for, guys. Yeah, the cornerback room, it's interesting to see. I think for me, the immediately 2 players that I think of, and I want to hear if you guys agree or anybody you take off that list. Out of the entire cornerback room, 2 guys that I'm most excited to at least see this summer is Amik Robertson, because I think he got a lot of hype coming into the Lions and how he played last year for the Raiders. I think people kind of just dismiss him. Not Lions fans, but there are some people that are like, hey, Ennis Rakestraw, Taron Arnold, and Carlton Davis. But Amik Robertson, I am very curious to see what kind of player he is, because I think obviously AG and Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, they love him. But that's a guy that I'm going to be watching. And I guess the other one will be Ennis Rakestraw. And, whether or not they love him in the slot. And if not, how quick of an impact can he make this year? And really, how much does he impress this summer? So those are really the 2 guys that off the top for me, I was immediately like, okay, I'm curious about these 2 players.
I think too, like those guys. I think it's 3 guys: Amik Robertson, even Taron Arnold, and Ennis Rakestraw. I think it's all 3 of those, because it's going to be that CB2 battle, and it's also, hey, does you know what's interesting too that I want to know coming out of OTAs is what's Brian Branch doing? Do they move Brian Branch to safety? Because I think if they move Brian Branch out of that nickel spot and you get, an Ennis Rakestraw or Amik Robertson, like if you're moving guys around there, what's going on in that position there? That's kind of, I think, when you're talking about like the corners guys, that's like the main thing. It's like, what's Brian Branch doing? If Brian Branch moves, what's Iffy and Kirby going to do? Who's going to be out? Who's going to be rotating in? And then I think the biggest battle of the whole camp, even when it comes to OTAs training camp, it's going to be that CB2 spot. I think Terrion comes out on top and Taron Arnold ends up getting that CB2. But then it's like, all right, if you move Branch, is that Ennis Rakestraw that fills in the nickel? Like, who are you putting there? Then that's the question. Where does Amik Robertson fit in? Because he started all those games last year for the Raiders. So
right.
I'm with you on that, Jeff. I'm just more so, I think there's going to be those 3 guys there battling for those 2 spots there. And that's going to be like Carlton Davis is Carlton Davis. He's locked in. We already know what he is. He's proven himself. But and it's weird too because rookies, and you hear this a lot, rookies struggle at times to start in their NFL career, especially at the corner position. Like that's not a position to where you just go in as a rookie and you're like, hey, I'm going to be a dog right away, unless you're Sauce Gardner. Now, Terrion could potentially be that. Like we think a lot. I think all of us agree Terrion's probably one of the best defensive players in this class. Is he a Sauce Gardner? Is he a Devon Witherspoon? We'll find out, boys. Huh? But I just think I think Terrion wins that spot, but then it's all right. What do you do with Branch? He's going to be moving around. Like, keep an eye on that. I can't wait till Thursday. And if they have some 11 on 11 going on Thursday, I want to see some reports come out of that. I expect some of these beat writers. I hope, Doc, I'm going to ask you tomorrow night. I expect you to keep an eye on what's going on with Brian Branch and there's Rakestraw, Terrion, and those fellas, and Amik Robertson. I expect it.
And I'm looking forward to seeing obviously the battle for the cornerback too, and obviously seeing where Terrion Arnold is up to speed as far as the NFL goes. But I'm really excited to see Carlton Davis. I know we're kind of getting distracted to see who's going to be the guys behind him, but I'm just excited to see a cornerback one. Obviously, I think he's going to live up to the height. I think he's going to be a great addition, but I'm just ready to see him in action. Obviously, we'll probably go to training camp, see some more of it, but I think he's going to be solid, and I'm so happy that we finally got our CB1, and then maybe we have a CB1 brewing for the future behind him and Terrion Arnold. So I'm ready to see Carlton Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I think Carlton, I know if you want to put him top 15, maybe top 12, whatever in the NFL, like, dude, I am curious, and not just for OTAs, but I'm talking training camp, the battles. Carlton Davis against Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, I want to see that man compete because he is, I think, an upgrade from Cam Sutton, just based on what I saw out of Cam Sutton last year. I think Cam Sutton in Pittsburgh was really good. But, I don't know whether the lack of defensive line or the injury, whatever it was, I think Carlton Davis is just, I think he's going to impress. I saw some people kind of commenting, and I'm talking about Terrion Arnold here. Arnold is the next Sauce Gardner. And here's the thing I got to say too, and I don't hate people being confident in Terrion Arnold. I just personally don't like expecting that type of production out of a guy like Terrion because it's unfair. It does not happen often. That is like, to me, Booner, a guy that walks into the league and is immediately the first or second best corner is like a damn shooting star. Like when it comes, you just watch it and then it's gone. And then you have to wait. It's like, I don't think that's fair to be like, he's going to be Sauce. If he is, awesome. I would bet probably against it immediately. I think he eventually can be one of the best corners, but not right away.
How often do you get a Sauce Gardner out of like Sauce Gardner? That was like just such a scenario. You don't see guys like that come out all the time. And if you want to really talk and break that down, if you want to set yourself up for the hype and all of that, go back to a couple years ago when Quinn Trisha and them drafted Jeff Okudah. Like, think about that. And everyone thought, that was going to be like obviously Sauce didn't come around yet, but he gets drafted number 2 overall. And everyone's like, this is going to be the next, this is going to be the Darrelle Revis. This is going to be the next big thing in the NFL. And guess what? How did that work out for you? So don't get your hopes up. But you got Terrion Arnold in the 20s. An absolute steal. Do you know what gives me faith about Terrion? I have my pen here, like I'm working. What gives me faith about Terrion, though, is Brad Holmes has not drafted a corner the last couple of years. The only corner that he thought about drafting and that he ended up trading back for, or ended up trading back because he wasn't available, was Devon Witherspoon. So in my eyes, if you're drafting the corner number 1 overall when it comes to talent, Brad, the only corner, and remember all the corners last year that everyone wanted Christian Gonzalez, everyone was banging the table, give me Christian Gonzalez. And Brad passed on him because the only one he liked was Devon Witherspoon. And guess who was the best corner last year by a mile? Devon Witherspoon. So I do think Brad, in his mind, he could have traded up for Quinyon. He could have traded up for different guys, and he traded up for Terrion Arnold because he does have he has an eye and he has a feel for those guys. So I think he has a lot of faith in Terrion.
Real quick, I saw Easy comment. He said the hashtag the Spenny Path. Is that a thing? Are we getting
Spenny? I will. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, that word gets
I will sue you.
Thrown around a lot.
I will do what someone does to people, and I will sue you.
Is this real, the Spenny Path? I saw
there's no Spenny Path. If Easy is my friend, he would not do that. That's disrespectful. Come on.
Oh my God.
Worked hard for the Booner Path.
Damn. Hey, the Celtics were just up 12-0. Not to get too off topic, but
yeah, I was checking the box score as we were going. I think they started off the Pacers like 0 for 6 or something like that.
No,
They're in Boston too. So. Yeah,
may get out of hand early.
Yeah, because Al Horford, man, he's starting. But that's not a bad thing. He could start. Bench isn't great, but hey, it is what it is. Detroit Supremacy says he said on the heavyweights today.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a conversation. It's gonna end really quick.
We got to get Spenny.
It's just weird. It's just weird. Hey, little bit of success, little, try and build something special in Detroit here. A lot of people want to hop on.
Yo, hey, that's fair.
Yo,
yeah, it's fair.
I love the boys. They're a part of the Booner Path. I don't know why they would try and start their own. They're a part of the Booner Path. That's just,
yeah, you know what?
The Booner Path, to be honest, if anyone wants to go against their paths, the Booner Path was created because those two went on air the next day after the trade deadline and said the season was over and Brad Holmes messed up and nothing would happen that season. Wrap it up. Season's done. Everyone go home, pack your bags, go home. And I came in that night after they did a show. I came in 2 hours later and put my foot down and said, you know what? This starts today, the Booner Path, and this is the path to the NFC Championship game. And I laid it out for the people. While 2 hours before me, they were sitting in the same seats saying, pack your bags, season's over, go home. They don't
Booner,
deserve.
we have a question for you.
They don't deserve that path.
Wrong. Oh my God. Can you not be on both paths?
There's Booner Path to the Super Bowl. I don't know what theirs is. They're just probably, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl, but when adversity hits, we're going to give up and we're going to run away. And when there's a bump in the road, oh, we're going to shut the car down and we're going to pull over and we're going to sit on the side of the road and then we're going to turn around and we're going to go home. No. Wow. The Booner Path is straight ahead. We hit bumps and we go through them.
Damn. In all, real quick too.
Love the boys too.
I know. You put up a comment and I do want to address it. Kind of talking about the Kentarion have that level of impact like Sauce immediately, which again, I wouldn't set yourself up for that. But Weezy D313 says AJ Terrell, Surtain, Jair, Marlon Humphreys, Trent McDuffie, just as good as Sauce. Hey, Weezy D, you're my guy. But I could not disagree anymore.
Surtain's better than all of them.
I think if you want to go Surtain, I think Surtain's right here. And then the next tier is AJ Terrell, Jair, Marlon Humphrey, and Trent McDuffie. I think that's how I look at it. I think Sauce and Patrick are the two. They are those guys.
To me, Sauce is number one, and it's like not even, I think Sauce is like, you could say he's the best in the league, personally. Maybe that's biased. And in the doc, I want to bring that up. The Booner Path to the NFC title game. I did mention through the whole path through the season. Last year was to the NFC title game and all year long. And I said, and that leads to next season winning a Super Bowl. That is on record.
I mean, hey, it's fair. Let's see here. I see.
I'm not in a good mood now.
Hey, here's Johnny says, dudes, keeping it on the down low, watching Below Deck with the girlfriend.
Shout out, here's Johnny.
Yeah, well, Below Deck, I just looked it up. I didn't know what Below Deck was. It's a reality show about young people who work aboard yachts. You know what? Hey, enjoy it. Enjoy it, Johnny. You know, maybe you guys don't end up watching it.
I really hope this isn't true.
Steve Lehman gifted 5 Crunch Time membership. Steve, we appreciate you, man. The people appreciate you too. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Shout out to him.
Steve.
Jason says it's a weird show. A lot of people like it, surprisingly. Yeah, I'd never heard of that. But hey,
I thought the Below the Deck, I thought it was like some Titanic thing or something.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. But let's get back to the article here. Let's go to the number 2 thing that Tim brought up, and that would be second-year players to watch.
Who?
And he writes in here kind of some second-year players now, but first-year players and how they contributed last year. Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, which is crazy. They were all rookies. And also mentions Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin, Colby Sorsdahl, Antoine Green, kind of really the whole rookie class of last year, and how Antoine and really how he can improve and get to that Josh Reynolds potential level or right below DPJ, but compete and try and fill that void, at least help and fill that void. And I don't know where you guys are at with it. I think Antoine, I've already kind of went through it, and we've talked a lot about the wide receiver position for the Lions. And I am excited for Antoine. I think there's something there, certainly. I don't know if he has a career like Josh Reynolds, to me, that's a hit because he was a 7th round pick. But another player I am looking forward to seeing, and we mentioned him a lot, is Jack Campbell. And for all the reasons we all discussed. Because, hey, what does he look like? I know Lukas always says to kind of include him. He always talks about how he doesn't know if he'll be better than Anzalone this year. I think there is a chance he will be better than Anzalone this year because that's why you drafted him in the first round, to be a future all-pro linebacker. But that's where I'm at. And then, of course, Broderick. But I'll let you guys kind of share your thoughts on that before we get to it.
I'll go quick before you go, Boone. I was just going to say Jack Campbell for all the reasons. We expect him to take a big leap this year. And I think Aaron Glenn, after getting 1 year down with him, will know all of his strengths and kind of cater to his strengths as far as using him goes. And then Brian Branch for kind of the same reason. We expect so much out of him this season. And I think he has a possibility in the next couple of years to be the best player on this defense. And I love Aiden Hutchinson, but just the skill set Brian Branch has, he can literally do it all. So I'm curious on how they are going to use him, just as I am with Jack Campbell.
Brian Branch is another one.
That's a good one too. I kind of, in my head, I took out some of the guys, and it was more so for me, like, the number one, obviously, the Jack Campbell is. I do believe, I've said it a lot, I believe he ends up being the number one linebacker on this team and leading the team in tackles this year. And I think he kind of takes that step, like similar to Brian Branch, to where you can argue he's one of the best players on the defensive side of the ball, and he ends up turning into a Pro Bowl linebacker. I think that's like this year for Jack Campbell. I am starting to come around, guys, and this is going to shock a lot of people. Antoine Green. I'm interested because I was the one that kept saying I wanted to bring in a free agent wide receiver. I want to see what Antoine, like in OTAs, there's a reason, and I'm starting to fall on this train a little bit. There's a reason that they sat there and Brad Holmes went on 97.1 and said that he trusts the development of Antoine Green. He trusts what Jameson Williams is doing. I think there's a chance, guys, OTAs end and the media's there and they're seeing him, and Antoine Green's getting a lot of snaps. I have a feeling. I watched some of his film today. Again, I went back. I was like, I want to see what Antoine Green did. I tweeted the play from Teddy Bridgewater today on our account. I want to see what Antoine Green can do. That man, he does have skill, fellas. And there's other guys too. But like this Antoine Green, it's him and Broderick Martin. Those are the two things that I'm interested in seeing, is him and Broderick Martin.
Yeah,
the Broderick one's really interesting to me, actually, too, because did you see the pictures of him at OTAs today?
Oh, dude, yeah. Looks absolutely shredded.
He looks great.
Yeah.
That man went out there and did what we all wanted him to do. Is it like we knew you weren't going to play last year, develop, lose weight, and get in shape. That's literally what he did.
I don't know. Broderick's interesting because I think the weight, him losing weight, if you throw on some agility to Broderick Martin, I think you got something.
Interesting.
I think, it'll be very interesting. But it makes me happy. You know what? It makes me very happy as your friend, Booner, to kind of hear you come around more on Antoine Green. Not that you thought not that you weren't high on him or you didn't think he'd be anything. But I think you were at a point where you were uncomfortable with the fact that Antoine would be competing to be playing legitimate snaps. And the Lions could still bring in a wide receiver. We'll get to that in the second hour. But it's nice. I think, with John coming on the dock, educating us a little bit, talking us more about the wide receiver core. And I think Brad Holmes, listen, you look at his actions, all right? And his actions dictate they didn't sign or draft a wide receiver. So, yet. They haven't signed one yet. But that would indicate to me that Antoine Green, maybe he's got a little bit of juice.
You don't even need him to come in there and be Josh Reynolds. Like, that's where DPJ comes in. You need him.
And you got Khalif too. You got Khalif.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The nicest way about Antoine Green, you got DPJ. You're not going to need him to do much at all. So,
but I mean, come in and get 300 or 400 yards. Just come in, like when if a guy goes down, step in. That's all it is. It's you need a guy, and maybe, fellas, maybe he ends up being something that we're shocked about, and he ends up passing up a DPJ, and he ends up actually going out there and just absolutely dominating. Who knows? Like, Brad has found these gems that we just don't see until they develop. Antoine Green could be one of those. There's a reason they didn't go get a wide receiver, and they're still running with this man.
It's true.
They obviously have faith in him. See Easy in the chat, man. He's clowning today. Another player that he mentioned in that article, the OTA thing, he mentioned Hendon Hooker and that backup quarterback role, and he also reiterated how he does potentially expect maybe some packages with Hendon Hooker. I can't believe we're even like at that point. And we talked about it on this show. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if that's Dan's thought process. Obviously, the Saints, where he's from, they worked it in. I think that was after he left, though, with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. But still, it was something they did dabble in with the Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Not that they're going to rotate like that, but if you're on if it's a goal line, you're fourth and goal, and you're like, hey, quarterback sneak or whatever it is, or you just want to run with Hendon Hooker, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I don't want to risk injury. I don't think it makes a lot of sense because if he comes in the game, teams are going to know what he's doing. All right. Because it's just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But I think he should beat Nate Sudfeld. If he doesn't, then maybe Hendon Hooker is way, way worse than we all thought.
Tell you what, no one on this show wants that to happen. If that happens, I'm going to make sure I let all of you guys know about it.
Well, yeah, you can let me know because I
will. I will.
You'll
never hear the end of that.
So I would accept that. But man, come on, that backup quarterback job, it ain't even nothing to watch. It's his to lose, man. It's his to lose.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
But I'm still curious. I still want to see him spin the thing, and I still want him to go out there and ball out in preseason too. So I still want to watch Hooker ball out,
Yeah, I mean,
some comfortability in the QB room never hurts. So still looking forward to it for sure.
John says Hooker could be used for trick plays. I mean, yeah, maybe a little RPO with Hendon Hooker, but that would, I guess.
It's just one of those
things. I don't hate it. I just, if God forbid anything happens and Hendon Hooker goes in, scrambles just to, you make him run the ball for a first down, he gets hurt, and you have Sudfeld as your backup. Now I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe it'll happen. I just don't see you already have a top 5 offense. You can score at will with Jared Goff and in the red zone. We talked about this last week. In the red zone, you can score at will with the running backs you have in the red zone and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. I don't see a benefit of having Hendon Hooker in there for some wildcat type plays where it's let that man get the rock and go out there and do a trick player. I don't see a long I don't know, because as soon as he comes out there, you kind of have an idea of what's going to happen.
You're on the goal line. You have 4 downs, or you're in the red zone. You have 4 downs. You have David Montgomery. There's no reason for a tush push or
Sam
any of
Laporta.
That. You have the best offensive line in the league. You have one of the best tight ends in the league. Your team was fantastic in the red zone with both running backs. Jeff, you can't do that to me. I thought, but no, there's no reason that you would need to bring in Hendon Hooker in the red zone. You have David Montgomery. You don't need to try all this special shit. Just stick to what works. Run in the rock. You have the best O-line in the league.
This guy, MP.
Dad, come on, MP. Come on.
Hey, you sick bastard.
We might need him to win us a football game at some point this year. Come on.
He'll be working as a valet at Red Lobster. That might be a decent gig.
I love how the tides have turned with
valet there.
Love how
valet at Red Lobster.
I don't know what Red Lobster you go to. All right.
Yeah, I've never been to a Red Lobster.
Park your fucking car. Go in there and you get your $30 meal. They don't valet for $30 meals. Come on.
No, Red Lobster to me is right on the. He's maybe a little similar tier than Applebee's. You're not, the Hooker tush push. That is.
I'm out on that too. I'm out on that.
No.
Give the ball to Demon. Let him punch it in. What are we doing?
I do. I'm not sure if they already brought it up in the heavies, but I do have that copyrighted. The Hooker tush push. I already went and filed it.
You know what? No. You know what? Guess what? They don't care about. They don't care about
Hooker
copyrights, and they don't care about copying people. It sounds like
Hooker tush
real original.
Hey, Hooker tush push. I can get behind. All right. I will not.
Oh.
Yeah. You get. Yeah. All right. Relax. All right. You see Ryan Letts. Jeff isn't wearing pants. No, I'm definitely wearing pants.
All right.
Shout out to Ryan, dude. Shout out to Ryan.
It's your pan.
Easy. You guys are the goats. But yeah, if he doesn't beat out Nate Sudfeld, I mean, this is like DEFCON 5. Hell, DEFCON 10. You know, I'm panicking. So that's how I feel about it. Let's get to the next thing that Tim Twentyman brought up here. So number 2 was second-year players to watch. Backup quarterback competition. We already mentioned it. Hendon Hooker. And then the fourth one was a breakout year for Jameson Williams. And that was something that Tim talked about in the article. Really his development. Can he take over that number 2 wide receiver spot? I think OTAs is, it's a good time to start watching him. You know, I have confidence he can. I think he's been working with Goff. The rapport's getting better. He's getting comfortable. And Doc mentioned it on our show as well. Just Ben Johnson's offense, the complexity. You know, it takes a year to learn this. And I think that applies to Antoine Green as well. J-Mo's had some time in this offense last couple of years. So this year it should be let him loose. And I predict he'll double his production. So if he doesn't double it, and I think that would be like 700-800 yards, then that's another I'm hitting the DEFCON 5 button, fella. I mean, I'm hitting the panic button.
Yes.
No, J-Mo's taking that next step this year. And I kind of ranted about it all of last year that they needed to start using him in ways that benefit his skill set, hitting him up the middle, getting him in stride, letting him use his feet. And then you started to see that towards the end of the year and towards playoffs, and Ben Johnson started to get acclimated with all the ways that he can use him, and I look forward to seeing more and more of that. J-Mo's going crazy this year. He's taking that next step, net without a doubt. Not worried about it one bit.
Not at all.
Not even one bit. I'll stand on it right now. Stamp it. J-Mo's going crazy.
You know, I'm with Gentry. I think, like, if you look at it, if you end up being that number 2 in the Ben Johnson offense, we saw it down the stretch, the last 7 games, that sample size you saw of Jameson Williams, where he went out there multiple. I mean, in the NFC Championship game, he had 2 touchdowns. Like, they were targeting him and they wanted to get him the rock. It was very well known in like many different ways. So I think J-Mo, now that there's no Josh Reynolds, and now that you're sitting there and it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams. It's time that they're going to like, do you remember, Jeff, last year when the whole fan base was just kind of, why isn't J-Mo getting targets? Why isn't he getting targets? By the end of the year, he was getting them, and now you know what he can do with it. So going into this year, there's going to be no question that this man's going to get targets, and if we're going to know instantly within the first 4 weeks of the NFL season, is Jameson Williams legit? Can he stay healthy, and is he legit? And I think he's going to check the box. He's going to end up being good. And I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up getting 800 all-purpose yards next year and kind of being that number 2 guy that Josh Reynolds was, maybe plus some. Maybe even plus some.
Yeah, listen, J-Mo, and I've always been a big J-Mo defender. I believe in his talent. I think anybody with eyeballs, unless you're Stevie Wonder, you could see it. You could see how he changes games. And so for Mike to have the confidence he has, I don't hate it. And I don't hate anybody that has confidence in what J-Mo can be. But here's the thing, though. The excuses are no more. Kind of like what we bring up with Aaron Glenn. We feel like he has enough pieces. J-Mo has all the tools. Like, Josh Reynolds is gone. You know, so that opens up a lot of targets. And I don't think it's going to be a competition between J-Mo and DPJ.
No.
I don't think it should be. And I like DPJ. But J-Mo, you're drafted. He's the only receiver, I think, on this roster that was drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
No, you're right. I don't know. Where did DPJ go?
Not only that, but they traded up to get him.
Round.
So, yeah. I don't think anybody else on the roster was a first round.
I still stand on it, too.
The wide receiver room was the first round pick.
If J-Mo ends up hitting his ceiling and at his best, he can be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, as crazy as that sounds, because you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I put a tweet out today on my personal Twitter just saying, like, if J-Mo turns out and he ends up having that season we all think, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams could be one of the best wide receiver duos in the entire NFL, just because of what his ceiling is. Like, he could go out there in a game and get 150 all-purpose yards and a touchdown or 2, and Amon-Ra St. Brown could still go out there and get 8 to 10 catches and 100 and something yards too, and you have a massive game out of those guys. Like, that could still happen. Like, that's the ceiling that J-Mo has. That one play last year versus the 49ers, just that end around, just being able to see him just see one little gap and just turn the turbos on and go. Imagine if you give him half or double his opportunities. Instead of giving him 4 touches a game, you give him 8 touches a game. That's going to happen that much more often. He's going to find out, like, if you watch him at Alabama, if you haven't watched him at Alabama, you don't get to talk about Jameson Williams until you go watch him at Alabama, because that's what he was like. He was one of the best wide receivers. He was the best in the whole country at the time, and he ended up getting hurt in the national championship game, and they ended up losing the game when they would have won if Jameson Williams. Think about that. One wide receiver. If one wide receiver doesn't go down in Alabama, they win the national championship that year over Georgia. I believe it was versus Georgia. I can't remember who it was against. But
absolutely.
And that was one of the best teams ever too. So like he was about to do that versus them, and they ended up losing because of it. So if you haven't seen what Jameson Williams can do at his best, don't comment on it. Don't talk about it. Go back and watch him and see what his ceiling is. Because we talked about it on our show, and I got laughed at a little bit when I said his ceiling, how high his ceiling is. And some people are, oh, what? No, like, go watch what he could do. Go watch it. Yeah, that's one of those things I will say, watch the film.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with JMO is like, and to the other side of it, there is no excuses. Although I do agree with you. In college, he was a force to be reckoned with. He was unguardable. Yeah. Because of what he was just gifted. He's just gifted, and you can't teach that. Like, I mean, he's just got God-given talent. Now, the other side of it is in the NFL, a lot of guys got God-given talent. A lot of guys are here because they are the best on their teams in college, and they're here, or guys that weren't drafted and they worked their way up to get here. So for JMO, it's a much more even playing field. So with that being said, he's got to find a way to just like Amon-Ra. Look at Amon-Ra. Like, he just worked his ass off and got to where he is now. Yes. And he's just productive. JMO, if I'm JMO, I'm not leaving Amon-Ra's side this entire offseason. Like, I just want to work out with him, pick his brain. That's where he should be at all times.
30-second time out here real quick. I want to address something in the chat here, because Adam said, I'm not going back 3 years. You don't even have to go back 3 years, man. You don't have to go do that. Go watch some of those games and some of the plays where he absolutely just breaks out a 60-yard bomb and scores a touchdown, or an end around for 60 yards for a touchdown, or 30-yard end around touchdown. Go look at that, and then go look at how many times he touches the ball in the game. I believe the most touches he's had in a football game in the NFL is 5 in one game, or maybe even 4. I think it was 5. 5 in one game, and a couple 4, and then all 2 and 3 after that. Now, if you find a way to get him to rock 6, 7, 8 times, the chances of him having those breakout and those explosive plays, that is what kind of takes you there. That's kind of where you go from here to here. When you finally get the opportunity to do so, you have a full off season, no suspension, no injury, and you're just fully in. Let that man go out there. He's going to go out there and he's going to put on a show. If he gets the opportunity, he puts a show on. That's the type of player he is. It's like those Tyreek Hills, like that speed, to where it's like you just have the speed to where you can just outplay anyone.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I don't want to get lost with is, like, we bring up his speed, but people have to understand when you watch JMO or just know who JMO is, he can run routes. Like, I don't want this to be like, he's not John Ross. Like, John Ross was just all speed. And he had a year in his last year in Washington, he broke out. He was drafted based on him breaking the record, the 40-time record. JMO's more, he's fast as hell, but I think people bring up the hands, which, like, okay, like, he's not Amon-Ra. We have to get that out of our head. He's not Amon-Ra. So, players are going to drop footballs. It is what it is. And he got better towards the end of last year. But JMO can run routes too. Like, he knows how to use his speed. He's not just straight line speed. Like, I don't want that to get lost either, because
go look at some of those deep touchdowns. Him getting open, just absolutely just busting out, or just boom, getting out there.
I get it.
You see what I'm saying? And it's like, just go watch some of those, and if you can add, 2 or 3 more of those plays to a game and give yourself a chance at a big time play, he's a game breaker. He's a game breaker to when you're up 7 points and you go out there and you throw a Jameson Williams play out there, and you're instantly 14-point game, 2 possession, game's over. Like, he's a game breaker that will change a game like that in an instant. He literally, outside of, if Josh Reynolds doesn't drop those passes and Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't fumble and your defense isn't just absolutely, I don't even want to say the word, if they're just there, you look at that game from Jameson Williams, like, he changed that football game to start. He set the tone instantly when he scored that touchdown. Instantly. Mm-hmm. That's like a game changer type of player. Not everyone has that.
And, if you're looking at, I know people are bringing up golf in the chat, which I get, like the deep ball stuff, but he's not. Goff showed the deep ball. I mean, he threw it. He threw the deep ball with LA, but with DJ Chark, he displayed it. He was hitting DJ Chark, contested catch guy, and he's not DJ in terms of like size. Like you're not throwing him 50-50 balls. That's not really JMO's game. But I will tell you this: deep, throw it to him on a deep cross. Get it to him in space and let him take care of it. Like you don't always have to throw bombs down the field. He will be open.
Yeah.
But find just ways to just get the football in his hands. Like,
Remember
like they did in the NFC title game, the end around, and he took it to the house. Like, just find a way to get him the football.
The short dump down, I can't remember who it was against, but on the sideline, he just makes a quick cut and ends up getting, 10, 15 yards out of it, just making guys miss. He's like that to where you can get him in a short route and he can make a guy miss. And if not, he's, you're still kind of a little reliable. I know he's dropped a couple, but as is kind of being early on in his career, that's going to happen. A lot of people drop passes in the NFL, not just Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds. At least J-Mo didn't drop any passes.
Yeah, that's fair.
J-Mo didn't drop any passes in the NFC Championship game. He caught a touchdown pass.
Well, the last thing that Tim brought up here was the rookies fitting in. And, he talked about all the rookies. And we already kind of talked about Ennis in Terrion. But, he also mentioned Gio Manu, Sione Vaki, Mekhi Wingo, Christian Mahogany as some other players that he's kind of looking for and what kind of roles they're able to carve out for OTAs. But not just that, but really for the summer and see how those guys kind of develop. If I'm being real, fella, and I'll go last here because I'll comment on kind of what you guys talk about. But what'd you think about some of the rookies? What are some guys you're paying attention to the most and why?
Oh, me? All right. I would say Christian Mahogany, obviously, because we got him so late and he was projected to go in those first 3 rounds. I think he could possibly be a piece that fits right in, barring any injuries, knock on wood. Hopefully none of that happens. And then kind of Sione Vaki. Obviously, we talked about the kick return, him being used on special teams. They have him listed as RB3. We even showed the AI stats or whatever, what they predict for all 3 running backs for the Lions, and they have him, getting some stats in there. So I'm really curious to see how they use him, and then maybe Christian Mahogany, maybe even Gio, just to see how up to speed he really is. And like Tim said, how he competes against the veteran guys. So I would say the 2 offensive linemen and then Sione Vaki are the guys that I'm really looking forward to out of this bunch.
I like it. One I want to bring up, no one really, and it's weird, no one ever brings him up or talks about him anymore. And we talked about him. He was my favorite player out of the draft class. Mekhi Wingo, though. I'm really interested. I'm actually, I want him to work out. That's a guy, if he ends up working out and becoming what you think he could be in his ceiling, someone who could play the inside, the outside, and move around the edge. That's someone you want on your football team, especially this defensive line. I think Mekhi Wingo has that ceiling to where he can go out there and actually produce and at some point give you turn into a starter on this football team in the next couple of years. I think he can do that, especially when you have a question mark maybe on that other edge there, and maybe you can get him and move him to that. Especially, and then, fellas, Terrell Williams, let him work with Mekhi Wingo. Let him go in there and just absolutely, hey, what do you want me to do? What do you need to do? I'm interested to hear coming out of Thursday when the media is there what Mekhi Wingo looks like and kind of what he's going through. If I had to throw someone else out there, I already know what Terrion's going to be. It's going to be the Ennis Rakestraw. I think it's Ennis Rakestraw as well. That's the interesting one as well to me to see can he hold his ground instantly? Because you draft him in the 2nd round, and then it's all right. You might need him to play this year, but you know how hard it is for a rookie in the secondary. I'm interested to see if Ennis Rakestraw holds his own this next couple weeks, especially versus Amon-Ra, J-Mo, those types of guys. Khalif Raymond, even a vet, he's instantly welcome to the NFL moment. You have some dudes you're playing against. Jared Goff you're playing against. I want to know what Ennis Rakestraw, kind of what's going on with him.
My whole thing with it, and I couldn't agree with you more about Mekhi Wingo. I think out of all the players, he's probably the one that I think could move up the depth chart. I think Gio we understand he's a project guy. I don't think you're not going to see him this year, but I'm curious to pay attention to his development. Vaki, he's intriguing because of his talent, and I don't know how you work him in. I just don't, unless there's an injury in your running back room. A special team, he's going to be a beast on special teams. But Mekhi, I'm excited. Christian Mahogany, I think we all just accept he's a backup guard right now at this point. I think he'll be a future starter. I think he has that type of potential. But I don't think it's anything like he's going to beat Graham out or beat Kevin Zeitler out. There has to be an injury, and then it's him or Colby taking over those guard spots. But out of all the players, Mekhi, I think in that defensive line room, just because of his versatility, he could play a little on the edge. He's a defensive tackle, but he's got pass rush upside. I am curious, and you got Aleem McNeil's contract kind of looming, and I know there's a question about whether the Lions extend him, which I am curious. I mean, it's a big year for him. It's a contract year, so for Aleem McNeil, he's going to go out there and show out because he sees what these guys are getting paid. I know Matabuke getting $20+ million, so it's a big year for him. But they have Mekhi, and I think for Mekhi Wingo, you got Terrell Williams developing these guys. I think Mekhi's got a lot of potential, man. Playing the SEC. Wore that special number at LSU. So you know what, Mekhi, I agree with you, Boone. I think Mekhi Wingo is somebody that, a lot of Lions fans are going to fall in love with as the season goes on.
No one's really talked about him since the draft too. I feel like that was someone everyone fell in love with instantly after the draft. That was like one of my favorite picks outside of Terrion and a sleeper pick, but I just feel like I haven't heard his name at all. Even in the rookie minicamp, no one talked about Mekhi Wingo. It was all Giovanni and Sion Vaki, and there was just no Mekhi Wingo. So that's where I'm interested to see kind of where he fits in, if he ends up kind of getting into a rotation there, and what AG does with him.
Bon J says, do you guys like Wingo's chances of making the team more than Betts?
Yes.
I
fully think, like, if I had to pick one, I'm picking Mekhi Wingo. Betts is 29 years old, 28 years old. Mekhi Wingo, what, 23 at most, maybe 24.
I'm sorry. That's like,
isn't.
I listen. I'm in Bon J. This isn't a you. This is just the Matty Bet stuff. It's like comparing a cold glass of lemonade on a summer day and like hot dog water. Like, I'm serious. Like, that's like where we're at with this.
Why don't you put a little respect on these guys?
No, I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Like, good, nice cold, a couple cubes in the glass of lemonade. Like, yeah, hell yeah, on a nice summer day. Or I was like, "What could I interest you in hot dog water, Mike?"
No.
You're gonna be like, "No, I'm okay." Like I'm good. You can keep the hot dog water. That's how I am with this Matty Bet stuff. It's like, dude, he's a body, okay, and he's gonna compete, and I think he's gonna make the practice squad. So
yeah, guys, I know I made the bet with Jeff on it. That I did make the bet. What was it, for like lunch or something, or it was a pizza bet? We did a pizza bet for Betts to make the team. I still think there's a chance he makes the team, because I think at edge you need some depth at edge,
okay.
like you really do. But I think Mekhi Wingo. If put a gun to my head and say Mekhi Wingo or Matthew Betts, I'm taking Mekhi Wingo so fast. You don't even need to give me Mekhi Wingo. He was my favorite player out of this draft. I love Mekhi Wingo.
Jesse. How dare you? He says, Jeff, fuck you, man. You loved that guy 3 weeks ago. Who? Matty Betts? I loved?
Yep, you did.
Booner, back me
up.
Pull
the tape.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He's always came at me because I said there was a chance Betts made the roster.
I do find it funny that people it's funny there, people talk about him like he's, going to go out there and be freaking, the next great player from the CFL, which, like, again, in all seriousness, as a human being, I do root for the man. All right. I don't hate the man as a human being, but if we're talking, what frustrates me is people, I think, overrate Matty Betts. Like, I don't think he's anything, dude.
I think it's because when you think of these people that are like, 18 sacks, like, he's not going to go out there and get 6 sacks for you, Jeff. It's this rotational guy who's going to be towards the end of your edge rushers who might get 2 or 3
They got a
sacks
deep defensive line room.
Oh, deep edge, huh? Deep edge room?
Hey, I'll take Mekhi can play some edge.
Okay, yeah. Outside of that, let's take him away. Deep edge room, right? Let's go through that list.
I mean, you have guys that can play edge and defensive.
Take the tackles out. Let's just talk pure edges. How many?
Even Davenport, Kamish, Pascal, like those guys.
Pascal, you want to go Pascal?
Hold on. Ready? We'll talk edges.
Just pure edges. Only edges. I'm not talking about you can go in and out.
Keeping guys because of their versatility too.
The best one.
No, I'm talking about pure edges. Let's just go through pure edges.
Okay, here. Aiden, Houston, Davenport, Kamish.
Okay. Now what?
I think Mekhi Wingo is going to play.
No, Mekhi can move back and forth. I'm just saying. Do you see my point? Pure edges. There's 4 that you can name on the team right now.
Can play edge as well.
Okay, but you see what I'm doing here. If we're talking pure edges, there's only 4 that you could think of off the top of your head on this football team.
How many?
That's not good.
These guys going to keep.
That's not good, especially when you've had such bad success with your edges in the past. Like, it would have been nice to have some depth after Charles Harris last year.
Hey, Charles Harris.
Oh, but hey, Josh Pascal can move out there, right? Charles Harris is bad.
Take Josh Pascal over Matty Betts.
How did that work last year? He moved out there. How did that work?
I would listen. And Detroit supremacy, Brad and Dan value versatility. They do.
But how has that worked with the defensive line the last year? Jeff, 2 days ago, what did you do?
So now you got no faith. Now you got no faith.
I do have faith.
Matthew Betts isn't moving that needle that much over any of the guys.
Though. That's why I think
we can all agree. We're all concerned about the edge position, but Matty Betts is not. Is he even better than Kamish?
No, but again, it's depth. It's depth. That's why he makes the team. It's because you need depth at that position. That's all it is. That's why I've argued this whole time he makes the team, because you have no depth at the edge position.
All right.
You literally, Jeff, you talked to me a day ago. We went over the sack numbers about how you need to increase the sacks.
Matty Betts is not moving that needle for me. I'm sorry.
It might not be, but guess what? You have some depth. That's more important than just having 4 guys that aren't moving the needle as well at all.
Well, hopefully these 10 players we're going to go through can move the needle, because we're going to go through our top 10.
Fun conversation.
Our Detroit Lions players that we made this list for, and we'll save Klotz. He can come back when he's feeling better, and then we'll kind of he can break his list down. But we'll start with mine. We can go
real quick, Jeff. Before we wrap up the OTAs, I just wanted to throw out there. I had one thing I wanted to look for that Tim didn't talk about. That's just what we argued about. I just want to see, I want to hear everything from, if I had to pick a number one of what I want to hear from the media come Friday, I just want to know what's going on in that defensive line room. That's, to me, the most important thing.
I am with you.
Because the corners, we want to know that. We have the players. We have all that. We just had this whole argument about the depth in that room, and Mekhi Wingo, who's going to play. How's Josh Pascal? How's Broderick Martin? The only thing I care about on this football team right now, it's defensive line. That's our weakness right now to win a Super Bowl. We just went over that on Monday. So that's my number one thing I put in my notes here is what's going on with the defensive line and the edges. So I just want to throw that out there.
Well, let's pull up our top 10. And by the way, feel free, everyone in the chat tuning in live, or if you're listening.
Here we go. I love these
listening live. Think of in your head, who are the top 10? Who are the top 10 players for the Detroit Lions? Think about it, okay? Because we're going to go through it, and there's a lot of good players. They're a really good roster. So there's going to be players that maybe are left off of this list that you think, they should be on that list. Honestly, we all agreed, and we talked about it earlier, Boone, the back half of this list, there is some subjectivity.
So interchangeable.
I think there is. But here's mine. Let's go through it, and then you guys,
guys
want to go one by one or do all three and then discuss it?
Let's go one by one. We'll discuss each one, and then I think we could do one by one, because I'll forget who everyone had. I'd rather do it while it's fresh. And I do want to throw out there too. It's some guys will be off. It just shows how good Brad Holmes has done building this roster. That's all it is. It just shows.
To be honest, I sent mine. I sent mine early while I was busy, and I had to bounce back a little bit and edit a little bit, and I still fucked up. So I still want to make changes to mine, but there's so many guys in that bottom, you could say 5 to 10, I guess, that you could move around and put them anywhere. There's a lot of great players on this Lions team, bottom line.
Spoiler alert, Matty Betts did not make the top 10.
What about Hendon Hooker?
He did not make it as well. But here's my top 10 list. So, okay, my top 10 Detroit Lions players for this season.
Wow.
Okay, so when you look at it, we'll go through it. Number 1, Penei Sewell. All right, no argument needed. Dude's one of the best players. We talked about it yesterday on this planet. He's the best player at his position, and he's the best player on the Detroit Lions. He's the heart and soul of this offense and of this team. So he's number 1. Don't need to add much into it. And I see Tafka says dispositional value. This is why it's tough, guys, because depending on how you look at it.
It's a subjective list, to be honest.
I did factor a little bit of it, but hey, this is what it is. Okay, so Penei Sewell's number 1. Number 2, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. As you can see, the people that are highlighted, I'm going to get rid of this. The people that are highlighted are all pros. So that's how it's ranked. So I have all 3 all pros, 1, 2, and 3.
You missed one. Frank.
No, he's not. He wasn't an All-Pro.
Second team, brother, behind Jason Kelsey.
Oh, he was this year?
He 2-time All-Pro. I think 2020 and 2023.
Damn.
Well,
regardless,
dog, dude.
That's why he's high, though. That's why he's high on this list.
There we go. There we go.
Number 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obvious reasons. Okay, not much to add. Guy's an absolute animal. He's one of the best receivers in the league, and he's Mr. Reliable, and he's only going to continue to get better. So Amon-Ra is number 2. Number 3, I have Sam Laporta. Dude, rookie tight end to almost get 1,000 yards is unbelievable. It doesn't make any sense. And he's already arguably the second best tight end in the league. So that's why it's important. Aiden Hutchinson I have is 4th. So here's the thing. A little bit of this is going into this year, and I think Aiden Hutchinson, if you look at his first 2 years, 9.5 sacks, 3 picks his first year, goes into his second year, 11.5 sacks, and then you bring up the interception he sprinkled in there as well. The dude is a future Defensive Player of the Year candidate, even in his second, and he doesn't have really any help, which I think is more of a more positive for him as a player, that he does this with Aleem McNeil, who is a good player. He is, but not much help at all. So I think Aiden Hutchinson, it's more credit to him for what he was able to do. Number 5, I have Frank Ragnow. And now people see, why do you have Frank over Jared Goff? I'll tell you, okay, I had him as the best center in the league last year, 2 years ago. I was calling him, back in our former employer, I was calling him the best center in the league. Me, Sam, and Lukas Klotz, we argued about, Creed Humphrey, and I said, no. He's the best player at his position, and that's why he's 5th. He is the best center in the league. Even after now Jason Kelsey, he's the best center in the league. So, that's why he is there over Jared Goff. And this is tough because Jared's 6th, but he had him higher. But, man, I got to put some respect on Frank's name. He is underrated. Jared Goff is 6th. Not a slight, one of the best quarterbacks in his conference, and he's a top 10 quarterback, top 7, wherever you want to rank him in the league. So, Jared has to be on this list, but he kind of speaks to, you look who's in front of him. 4 out of the 5 in front of him are on offense. So think about that for a second. It's kind of wild. Number 7, another offensive player, Jahmyr Gibbs. Even though Lukas Klotz would probably prefer him much higher, I think Jahmyr is a good player. I just don't think he's there yet. He's a rookie last year, almost had 1,000 yards. He's going to get better. But I think the players in front of him, I don't know who you'd put Jahmyr over because I just think these guys are, some of the best, if not the best at their position. Brian Branch, I have right behind Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Brian's only rising. I think he's a fantastic young safety, and he's going to be a future. Hopefully, he's another All-Pro you can add to that list in the future. I think he's got that type of talent. So Brian Branch is there. Number 9, I got DJ Reader. And I know this is the tough thing. I know people are talking about Aleem McNeil. The 9 and 10, maybe even 8, to me, it's interchangeable. I wouldn't hate if you said, hey, Jeff, I would rather have Aleem McNeil over Carlton Davis. Great. I think Aleem McNeil and Anzalone is another one.
I think 9, 10, 11, and 12. I think there's 4 guys that you could say, who do you prefer? I think there's 4 guys there that are interchangeable.
And I agree. And that's why I have DJ Reader here. I just think his impact is so immeasurable. He's been one of the best nose tackles in the game. And his impact isn't always measured on the stat sheet. It's measured again, I hate using this term, but you just got to watch the impact because he's a walking double team. He's been one of the most consistent defensive linemen in the NFL. And the Lions were very lucky to have DJ Reader. And then at number 10, I have Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis, I know people are like, what? Carlton Davis, guys, especially Carlton Davis's first handful of years in the league, that dude, he's legit. And Jeff Olson, I'm not sure how he's our Bucs fan in the chat. I'm not sure how high he is on Carlton Davis, but I think he can kind of weigh in on this a little more. Detroit's got a CB1. Yet, no, he's not Surtain. No, he's not Sauce Gardner. But he's, if you want to say a tier 3 type of guy, that's fine. But he is the Lions' best corner right now. And that's why I have him right there. He's a good player. And you look at what he's done in this league. I mean, he's had double-digit pass deflections multiple years. He's always been, solid in coverage. And I love the confidence he does play with. So I think if you want to put him top 12, top 15, hell, some people have him top 10, wherever, I'm cool with it.
So
that's why I have Carlton Davis there, and that's my my top 10 list.
Can I back you on the Carlton thing here real quick? Because like if people in Detroit want to know kind of, and I know Jeff's in the chat, Olsen kind of saying, potential top 10 guy, corner in this league, and you just said it. I want to bring this text back to the light here. When Carlton Davis got traded to Detroit, my guy Stephen Che over at Barstool, who's a big Bucks guy, the text, I go back to this when I think about Carlton Davis. He texted me instantly and said, if he's locked in, he's a top 10 cornerback in this league. He's very good and borderline excellent against big wide receivers, struggles versus smaller, twitchy guys, but guys like Christian Watson will not do well against him. So think about the division you're in right now. Carlton Davis, potential top 10 corner in the league, who is elite at guarding big wide receivers, big body wide receivers. What kind of wide receivers in the NFC North?
There's a lot.
Justin Jefferson. You can argue what Keenan Allen, DJ Moore type guys. Christian Watson over in Green Bay. Like, those are guys that you need, and you're going to throw him on. So from what I'm hearing, and obviously we've seen it, we've watched a lot of games. We saw Carlton twice this year. He can be a dude, and especially if you put him in a defense to be successful, I think Carlton's going to have success here. I don't want to even compare him to the Cam Sutton situation at all or anything. Like, I think that's just like to me, that's more so of like a cop out of, just Cam Sutton didn't work out last year. Oh, that's Carlton Davis. The two different guys. Come on now.
So here, okay. So let me put this back up real quick so we can kind of break. Okay. So I see, and I want to address I see a comment talking about Dave Montgomery, and I see Adam, and I love you, Adam, but I'd even put D-Mon over Branch.
I don't know.
No, I know, and it's no. Dude, and I love D-Mon.
I know.
Right? No, it's a big no for me. Because Brian Branch, you look at his rookie year, that dude can do it all. Like, I don't. The only flaw in his game would be maybe his straight line speed, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he's not the fastest guy. Name me a weakness. He can tackle extremely well. He can blitz off the edge. He can get after the quarterback. He's great in coverage. I mean, he's got a knack for the football. There is, if you're looking at in terms of who met more, D-Mont, yes, was very, very good last year. But Brian Branch, that dude, he was playing in the slot for you, and thank goodness you had him playing in the slot for you. Like, that is the value he had. So if you want to go who met more, who means more to the team, I don't know, because then if we're going off that, then I'm putting Jared Goff 1, because if he goes down, then the team's screwed. I don't like that.
If we're going to, who's best player, right? Who's the best player? D-Mont wasn't even going to be a Pro Bowler last year, right? He's not even a Pro Bowler. Brian Branch, you can make an argument. He should have been at the Pro Bowl this year. You can make an argument. I did the breakdown a couple weeks ago. His numbers versus Justin Simmons, who was an All-Pro safety, and guess what? Identical. And actually, when I broke it down to you guys, I did player A, player B, and guess who you guys picked? Brian Branch. So like, Brian Branch this year has a chance to be an All-Pro safety, a Pro Bowl. He's going to be a Pro Bowl safety locked in. David Montgomery's not even going to come close to being a Pro Bowler. He's not even going to be in the conversation for a Pro Bowl. We're talking best player in the NFL, best of your position. Brian Branch is going to end up top 10 in his position, if not better, probably top 5. D-Mont's not going to come close to that. D-Mont's a great football player, taking nothing away from him. But if we're looking at best player on the football team, there's one that's going to sit there and battle for an All-Pro at his position. The other one's not even going to be an All-Pro bowler. So like, there's different levels to that.
I'm not doing this based on who has more value to the team.
No, it's best players.
Top 10 players.
Yes.
That's originally when I saw this topic, that's what I thought it was. So that's kind of what my list is based off of, but it still kind of works out anyways.
Yeah, because if I'm being real, then I'll put Aiden Hutchinson over Laporta then, because without Aiden, you're screwed. Like, I agree.
We're not doing that. Frank would be higher to me.
Yeah, Frank should be 2 in my opinion. Then Amon-Ra should not be 2
because your offensive line's value-wise, your offensive line on this team.
I don't. That's not the ranking. That's not how we're doing the ranking. The ranking is who's a better player. And I'm sorry, you can't convince me that David Montgomery is a better player in the National Football League than Brian Branch. As a rookie, by the way, like that doesn't apply. But hey, that's my list. I want to pull up We'll do Booners next, and we'll get to Mike's. Then, Mike, you can clarify kind of what you think and some things you change. But let's get to Booner's list. That's my list. Remember it. We'll revisit this later. Okay. Let's put Booners up. All right, Booner. Talk to me.
Let's do this. Let's
see Booners.
That's right. It's really bothering me though that you have the All-Pro teams there and Frank isn't highlighted. It's really bothering me.
Yeah, that's an L. That's an L.
So my biggest thing here, if I'm going to start this off, is the one thing I regret on here is putting Frank Ragnow at number 7. I was driving home from work today and I kept thinking about it. I was like, I should have put Frank way higher. But Jeff, you and I, similar list, to be honest. Just maybe I think it's Frank and Gibbs kind of swapped, it feels like, and I don't have the same 10. But Penei Sewell, I mean, we know what he is, guys. I said it on the show yesterday. Top 5 player in the NFL total, I think. Like all around, pound for pound. I think like a NFL top 100 comes out going into this year. I would say Penei could be a top 5, probably locked to be in the top 10. So I think he's number 1. Number 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown. 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, whatever it was. He is one of the best at his position in the NFL, top 5. If you don't have Amon-Ra all season, he is one of the best players on this football team. I believe, Jeff, I think you had Sam Laporta at 3 as well.
We have the same first 4.
Yeah, and I think there's like a reason behind that. I think like these are just like, if you took value and everything out, those are probably just the best 4 players on this football team when it comes to talent and when it comes to like what are these guys' ceilings and everything. Like these are the best 4 players on this football team. Sam Laporta, and then his career, he's going to have a chance to be the best tight end in the NFL at one point. Same with Aiden Hutchinson. At some point, he's going to compete for a defensive player of the year, if not possibly win one in the next few years. Penei Sewell's already the best player at his position. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, every year, he's going to be top 5 wide receiver. So like those guys, to me, are the best football players on your football team right now. Number 5, Jahmyr Gibbs. I looked at it the same way. And I know, Jeff, you had him, I think, at 7. But with Gibbs, to me, it's the ceiling going into this year. Is I feel like Gibbs has the highest ceiling on this football team to where you can argue he's going to be one of the best players. Like you can go into after the end of the season and say Gibbs is in that top 3 right there. And I wouldn't be shocked. Like at some point in his career, I wouldn't be shocked if you're saying Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in the entire NFL. So that's where I'm at with Gibbs. I see the smirk over there. I'm going to ignore that for now. 6, Jared Goff. I wish I could go Jared Goff higher, but I think 6 is good for him. I think like 4 to 6. There's just so much talent on this football team that it's hard to like. Jared Goff's a top 10 quarterback. These other guys are top 3 in their position. So that's where I kind of went with that. This is the mistake though. If I had changed anything, I probably would swap Frank for Jahmyr, to be honest.
That's where I was going to yell at you for.
I probably would swap Frank for Jahmyr. And Jeff, we were on the phone earlier and I was talking about my list, and that was kind of what I was throwing out there was the Frank thing. It hit me with Jason Kelce now retired, who got first team All-Pro last year. Frank is by far, he is like the 1A best center in the NFL. And it's not just because like it is, I talk about it all the time. I listened to an interview of him and he was breaking down everything he does. And if you notice, when Frank is out in a game and he's not playing, the Detroit Lions offensive line completely struggles because Frank's calling out every coverage. He's calling out blitz. He's calling everything out. Just like Jared Goff's out there making calls, Frank Ragnow does the same. And he only, guess what? Did you guys know this? Only gave up 1 sack as well last year, just like Penei Sewell. I know he's not sitting there, you know, going up against the best edges in the league every night.
He's going up against some
big time defensive tackles.
Yeah.
And he only gave up 1 sack all season long and only gave up 6 quarterback hits. 6. Like, put that in perspective. He is the best in the NFL by far when it comes to being a center in the NFL. DJ Reader, I think, Jeff, I think you had him around the same spot as well.
Yep.
I just think he's elite. When you look at defensive tackles in the NFL, he's constantly one of the top guys. He might not put the stats up, but when you watch the film and watch his game, the impact he makes when it comes to the clogging the holes there, opening up lanes for guys to go get to the quarterback and even stopping the run. He is literally one of the best in the NFL at doing it. Like you can't ask for someone better. Maybe there's a couple guys, but all around when it comes to a defensive tackle, DJ Reader is one of the best in the game. Number 9, Brian Branch. I think if you have a top 10 list of best players on this football team and Brian Branch is not on your list, Adam, it's a fraud list. The whole list is completely debunked. Brian Branch is going to end up being a Pro Bowl or All-Pro player next year for this Lions team. He is elite. Go compare his stats to some of the All-Pros from last year like I have. Go look at what he's done. And go look at the plays he made in some of the big games. While he's injured, by the way, because that whole second half of the season, he played injured and he had to go get surgery. I know a lot of players are. And then I did Anzo, fellas. I had to do Anzo. It was between him and Aleem. And then I ended up rolling with Anzalone. I know you went Carlton Davis. I didn't even think about the Carlton Davis, but it was between him and Aleem. And the thing with Alex Anzalone is he is like the heart of your defense. And he has gotten so good the last 2 or 3 years when it comes to reliability, being consistent, and kind of just being that green dot that you need. So I'm rolling with Anzo at number 10. It was hard for me to keep him off the list.
And Mike, I'm curious what you think about the golf thing. I see people chiming in. He should be higher for so far on me and Booner's list.
You'll have to see my list.
Let's get to Mike's list. All right.
You guys, nothing on my list.
To be honest, I don't even remember some of it. So,
well, before we move on, the only thing we do have different is we have a couple things different, but one thing we do have different is you have DJ Reader over Brian Branch. I don't hate it. Because DJ, based on, I have to be consistent with how I'm grading this list. If you're going off, who's a better player at their position right now, DJ Reader probably takes that nod. So if you want to go, he's a better player right now at this point. Like, I don't hate it. I would take, Brian Branch over DJ Reader, but that's really my only bone to pick. Like you already said, I was going to come at you for Jameer being 5.
Again,
but you swapped
8 to
it
12,
anyway.
8 to 12 interchangeable.
Yeah, you're right.
I think you could even say 5 to 12. There's a lot interchangeable. So like I don't think you can hate on really any of those picks. I think pretty much the top 4 consensus. Maybe you mix them around a little bit, but I don't think there's anything wrong with this.
I don't think the first 4 should be touched, in my opinion.
No.
I don't know what you guys.
I think even the next 3, like Jared Goff, Frank, and Jameer, I can't move them down. Like I had struggled putting them in order. That's it. And if people think Goff is top 4, like I get it, but being realistic, all of those top 4 guys are top 5 in their position.
Yeah,
you make that argument that they're top 5, which Goff is top 10. That's kind of how I looked at it a little bit. Is like in their position groups in the NFL. Where are they ranked? And those top 4 are all top 5. And Goff is kind of a little lower on the list.
Well, let's get to Mike's. Mike, there are some things you want to tweak. All right.
Well, no, I just thought of it differently, but I thought we were doing it differently, but I don't really give a shit. Just throw it up.
All right. Fuck it.
All right. So number 1, I have the best offensive lineman in the league, Penei Sewell. Number 2, I have Aiden Hutchinson. I was just thinking, as if we're going into next year, without Aiden Hutchinson, this defensive line is shit. You don't have any edge rushers. We've seen what it was like last year. With Hutch, imagine if we didn't have Hutch. St. Brown, for all the reasons you guys said, all pro, dog, wide receiver. I couldn't imagine him and Goff, like the offense without him. And then Goff at 4, Frank at 5, for all the reasons you guys said. Frank's really the leader of the offensive line. He faces many dogs. He holds his own, like Booner said, only 1 sack allowed. Number 6 was Sam Laporta. For the same reason, him and Goff's chemistry was pretty much unmatched last year. And then I think DJ Reader, what his impact is going to be on the defensive line, freeing up Aleem, freeing up Hutch, what his total impact is going to be shown from week 1. Carlton Davis, you get your cornerback 1. I think he's going to make a huge impact right off rip. We've seen how bad our defensive backs were last year. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, number 9. I think he's going to only get better from now. Explosive running back. You guys know I love DeMont. I still think they need to feed off each other to really have that success. But Brian Branch at number 10, for all the reasons you guys said, he's going to be one of the best at his position in the league moving forward. He's already a dog. You've seen what he's really done and moved around, and his versatility as a rookie. I think it's kind of like almost unheard of. And I think he's only going to keep getting better.
Well, you clarified the 8 Hutch to Amara thing, which honestly, even though we said the first 4 guys, I didn't think there was putting Goff higher. I don't hate, but if I didn't mean the order. Penei, obviously, I did mean the order. You got to put Penei as the best player, but like Aiden, it's like okay, I'm not going to sit there and bark at you for having him a high 2 spots higher. I am a little shocked about Sam Laporta being 6.
Well, Jeff, you know that that was actually the one guy. So I was driving when I sent this list, and that was actually the one guy I forgot. So I swapped. I don't even remember who I swapped him out for last second. But like I said, I don't know. Either way, 6 is fine for me for Sam Laporta. I think those top 3 guys are really
No.
What?
No. Sam Laporta is top 4.
Well, either way, like I'm not saying that he isn't. I texted Jeff to move him to I think 5, and then I was saying to move Frank up 1. But either way, I'm not too mad about it. Either way it falls, it is what it is.
So we would all had Goff at 6, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you move Sam Laporta to 4 on this list, it's the Goff thing. I mean, I get if people are like, "Oh, Goff is the guy." He's like, yeah, I get called the Goff gobbler every day of my life. Like, I'm just realistic here a little bit. Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra, and Sam Laporta are literally the best at their position, essentially. Like the best in the league, the best of the best. They're like, when you break down the top 5 players at those positions, it's like, let's think about the top players in the NFL at Jared Goff's position: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Like, what are we doing here? That's why, to me, I love Jared Goff. I'll die on a hill from him. He's great. He's in a great position, and that man, he takes advantage of it, and he's going to win a Super Bowl in Detroit one day. I think he is a great quarterback in the NFL. Put him at 7 or 8 in the entire NFL when it comes to quarterbacks. But when we're talking about the best players on the football team, I think there's like Penei Sewell. The Sam Laporta thing, I think Sam Laporta has to be in the top 4 every day with this. He just was an all-pro tight end as a rookie.
Yeah, and I see Tyler says, boys, you all miss Zeitler. I think Zeitler's right outside the top 10. And maybe if you want to put him at 10, like we said, I think 8 to 10 is kind of interchangeable, even 7.
I feel like
so
that was
if you want to put Zeitler a little higher. No, he's been talking about it a little. Tyler's been mentioning a couple times.
Aside from Monty and Aleem, is there anyone big that we really missed? I mean,
I think Zeitler's
Booner, right?
Yeah. I think Zeitler's not bad. There's a couple guys. I think Monty, Aleem, Anzalone for my list and your list.
Yep.
There's Zeitler. I do think he is a top. Zeitler's right behind this list.
Monty is essential for this team's run game success, but he is not the top 10 in the top 10 on this team. And I don't think the Lions offense will be quite the same without Monty, if they lose him or he goes down and whatnot, but he's still not in the top 10 on here.
I see John Hughes kind of put up his list as well. He said number 1, Penei, 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3, Lagoda, 4, Hutch, 5, Rags, 6, Goff, 7, Reader, 8, Gibbs, 9, Branch, 10, Demo.
So I don't hate that list. Penei, Amon-Ra, Hutch, Frank, Goff, Reed. Yeah, I don't. That's similar to what I had outside of Demo.
What does he not have?
He doesn't have Anzo or DJ Reader. Or no, he has DJ Reader. He had that back half where we had Carlton Davis.
Have Carlton Davis.
Which honestly, that's fine. Yeah, I like.
I didn't have.
Like we said, that back half is all interchangeable. I think he nailed the first, most of it. I'm not going to say, like I said, if you have something different for 8, 9, or 10, like John does, I don't say you're not. I don't think you're wrong. Unless you.
Realistically, none of these lists are wrong. No matter, even if you have 1 through 4 different than us, it's all personal opinion. So
if 1 through 4, like if you didn't have Penei Sewell at 1 and I'm
you're wrong.
In the top 4,
I'm
coming at your head.
But I'm saying like the order of them. No, actually, Penei Sewell has to be 1.
I think it's Penei and Amon-Ra 1, 2, and then you could
argue different things. And,
Hutch and Laporta, I think, have to be interchangeable there, and then, but the Goff thing, I would be interested to see a conversation of someone to say that Goff is in the top 3 on that list, or maybe top 2. I'd be interested to see an argument of Goff over Amon-Ra and Penei Sewell. I would love to see that.
Well, fellas, I want to transition here before we get to Mailbag because we are going to get to that at 9:45, 9:50. And I want to talk about the Robert Woods stuff because shout out to John, shout out to Vito for the work they do on All Lions. And I saw that Vito posted an article about Robert Woods, kind of talking about some of the positives and negatives of potentially trading for Robert Woods. And I listen, I will say, with the wide receivers we've talked about, I think, Robert Woods, in terms of rapport, He's got rapport. He's got rapport with Jared Goff. That is fair. And that's why they brought in Josh Reynolds. So I don't hate the idea, but I'm going to go back to kind of what I said. It's like Robert Woods, all that he would be, in my opinion, is depth, and I think that's good, but I don't think it's like a must trade, because you got to trade for him, guys, like that's the thing. If he gets cut, maybe, but if you're trading, hell no. I'm not giving up assets for Robert Woods. I'm not doing that.
No, I mean, you're going to give a 5th or 6th round pick, though. Like, that's not crazy.
I'm not giving that up for Robert Woods. I'm sorry.
No?
I mean,
because you got to think with the value. I mean, that's James Houston.
I guess so, yeah.
Like, that's how I look at it now with Brad Holmes. It's like, that's Malcolm Rodriguez, which, like, those guys they contribute. Robert Woods to, like, be depth and then leave, like a 6th round pick. It's like, no, save those picks for the trade deadline when you don't have enough edge help potentially.
I think the wide receiver group's fine, but I think if, like, I haven't really been for any of these wide receivers that we've talked about bringing them in, but this one kind of makes more sense. Him and Goff have played together, but I still don't want Robert Woods. He's like 33 years old. I mean, I think you are fine with, I would rather have Antoine Green and DPJ out there over Robert Woods taking reps 9 times out of 10. So I don't really care about the chemistry. I think DPJ and Green, those guys will kind of work with Goff, and I think they'll be fine. I don't think there's any room to bring in Robert Woods, who even in that offense, Houston faced so many injuries down the stretch, and he even got injured, I'm pretty sure, and he still wasn't even doing anything good. And he had reps out there. He was getting snaps, so there's no reason for it. DPJ and Green are going to be fine.
All right, I'm going to crush both of you guys' lives real quick. I'm going to let you guys know what it's really like, because it seems like you guys are okay with being consistent and never trying to get better. That's what this feels like, both of you two talking right now.
No,
this is where it's at.
If better stuff along the line, and we're not going to panic right now and sign it.
It's not that you need to panic. It's that you always have to be looking to get better. You always have to be looking to get better. You can't just sit there and die on the hill of DPJ and Antoine Green. And I just said earlier, I hope Antoine Green turns into something nice. But if Robert Woods ends up coming available, whether he ends up playing a lot on your team or not, if you get there and he's about to get cut from the Texans and you call the Texans up, and you don't have to give up much, Jeff. Don't have to give up a 5th or 6th round pick. All you have to do is call the Texans and say, "Hey, you're about to cut him. Instead of you cutting him, guess what we're gonna do? We'll give you a 6th round pick swap. You can move up in the 6th round. We'll take your later 6th round pick. Just let him come over to Detroit for now, right? Okay, you do that. Guess what? What's the best thing in the NFL with players? Competition. When there's no competition behind DPJ and Antoine Green and all of that, there's not. You can become content so easily. You want competition in these rooms. Bring Robert Woods in. If he doesn't cost a lot, bring him in. He had essentially 400 yards last year. I mean, we just keep being like, oh, DPJ, Antoine Green. Oh, these guys, like, no, what happens if they don't work out? What happens if one of them gets hurt? You guys are happy with I don't know, Isaiah Williams? So why not just bring a guy in? Brad Holmes already came out of press conference 2 weeks ago and said, as training camp approaches, we're going to look at other wide receivers around the NFL. He's going to look at other guys. So, like, him saying that as well, just like he said, he likes the development of some of these guys. You still don't want to be just stuck on the mud, and you don't want to just sit there and put your whole, hey, let's just go all in. We're playing blackjack right now. Let's just go all in on one player. Let's just go all in on DPJ. What if he doesn't work out? Then we don't win a Super Bowl. I'm going to come back at you two, and I'm going to say, oh, that was smart of you guys to not want Robert Woods.
There's 3 other guys.
3 other guys. You lost the guy and you didn't add a guy.
As if an injury did happen or one of those guys do go down, that Robert Woods isn't available week 4. Robert Woods ain't going fucking anywhere, but if he gets traded to another team to sit on another team's bench, he had 400 yards
Gentry,
last year.
This isn't a guy that had 100 yards. This isn't a guy that had 100 yards.
This is a guy
that averaged the same amount. Nothing. He averaged 6 less yards per game than Josh Reynolds, who was your wide receiver too. This isn't Josh like Reynolds. A scrub.
And we're going to be fine without Josh Reynolds. DPJ is going to come in and fit like a glove.
All right. I'm done talking this because Josh Reynolds was nothing last year. He was only your number 2 wide receiver. We talked about him like he was like
he's a superstar wide receiver.
No one's acting like that. We're talking about a wide receiver too. a 3, a 4.
But you need context.
Every single player on your team isn't a star. I'm going to just let you guys know that now. Every player on the NFL
I know Robert Woods isn't a star. I know that.
But Gentry, you're like, oh, well, everyone talks about Josh Reynolds as a star. No, I'm talking about a third, fourth guy. Why not have a guy like Robert Woods who can get you 400 yards in the season if you need it? And if he doesn't end up playing, guess what? You move on from him and you draft someone else next year.
Booner, he's 32.
You bring him in for a year, a Super Bowl run.
I'm not
sure. He has
you can find 400 yards if it's that bad.
Booner, would you rather just be patient and actually, if there is a guy when you need, why just give away capital for Robert Woods when you may not even need him?
You do a swap. You just let's swap 5th-round picks. Let's swap.
Why don't you do it later? You can maybe swap for a better player than 33-year-old Robert Woods if you just give it time. You don't have to rush and just bring him in for competition. The guys in there are competition.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Now, Booner, if he gets cut, which could happen, you want to bring him in.
I trust DPJ. I trust these guys. I don't want that to not be known.
But if we're talking about the thing I don't agree with is you bring up, well, what if there's an injury? What if Aiden goes down? Let's just keep bringing up injuries. Well, then you should focus on edge.
That's why the edge issue, the depth is a problem too. Like
focus on edge. If we're talking injuries.
Why do you guys have the depth issue with the edge, but you won't talk about it with the wide receiver?
Because there's a clear difference.
And guys, listen, I think DPJ and JMO and Khalif, they're going to be just fine. But in my opinion, there is no bad harm in going and getting a Robert Woods who's had already a connection with his best 2 seasons in the NFL are both with Jared Goff. If you bring him in and you put competition between Antoine, what happens if he's a 6th-round, 7th-round pick? What if he doesn't work out this year? Huh? What do you do?
Yeah, okay.
Hey guys, let's patience. Let's just wait until later in the year. We can
if he doesn't work out this year, you know what you do? Someone. You pick up the phone and you get anybody.
I hope Robert Woods. I hope Brad goes out. I hope
Robert Woods is some diamond in the rough.
I'm not. See, this is where you guys both lose me. Gentry saying Josh Reynolds was a star, and you saying Robert Woods is a diamond in the rough. That's the farthest thing I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. You're exaggerating.
So you have
I'm saying that he can be a piece on this offense.
Oh, a lot of guys can be pieces.
Were you guys all? Let me go pull receipts of what people were like when Marvin Jones came in last year, because a lot of people were happy about that, and it's the same thing as Robert Woods coming in right now.
Well, they have DPJ. They didn't have him last year.
Okay, but when they lost him, they
had a mid-season. They got him mid-season.
When they needed him.
Better than both.
When he was available. They were patient. Right. They got a wide receiver at the deadline.
Hey, I just listen. I don't think. To me, Robert Woods, it's like
it's an opportunity to put competition in that room.
Yeah, which I'm cool with.
You're not sitting here paying this guy $30 million. It's probably going to be a veteran minimum. Like you guys are acting like we have so much money available. There's like $28 million cap hit right now just sitting there. Like, oh, what's that going to hurt to get Robert Woods? If you guys are acting like I'm saying go out there and get a star to replace Amon Ra. Unbelievable. That's what this is.
My problem when you brought up trading for him, which I'm waiting until June.
Swap a pick, and if he does get cut, June 1st cut, there we go. That works even better.
Yeah, I'd rather just wait for him to get. He's going to get cut.
I'm probably
pick him up, Booner. You know what? You pick him up, bring some competition in there, and Antoine Green, send him back home. Is that fair? Okay. Robert Woods was a great player. He's fine, and depth is fine. But all I'm saying is, man, if you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, DPJ, Khalif Raymond.
Dude, that's the scariest wide receiver room in the NFL. Whoa, dude.
That's what
they Robert Woods to
it's a great NFL. Really it's a great wide receiver room. Doesn't mean we can't add to it.
Oh yeah, that's what
you guys are acting like it's like the best in the NFL, and there's no reason we can add Robert Woods to it. Come on, dude.
I know it just doesn't do much for me. That's
for you, but it'll do some stuff for that room.
I don't think, and they have Laporta, who I count as he's a weapon. So then Jameer,
you might as well put Brock Wright in there too if we're talking tight ends.
Who?
Brock Wright.
Hey, don't sleep on Brock. Hey, Brock can get a little loose.
Again, I'm starting to come around on this wide receiver room. I'm happy with it. I look at depth and I look at you don't have one of the best in the NFC wide receiver rooms. I'm just looking at depth when it comes to it. Like we can add pieces to it. You can never have enough weapons or too many weapons.
Mackmall Woods would be good passing out Gatorade. The J-Mo and St. Brown. That'd be good. I mean, hey, need the extra help.
You need one of those guys.
Yeah. Those guys are valuable. Those guys deserve more respect. He can be out there. He can be a little coach extension of the coach. But that's where I'm at with it. By
the way, I want the people to know I'm not actually mad. I'm just I love getting excited about things. People are like, "Oh, why is Booner actually hurt?"
I'm
never mad, dude. I get very
Hey, I want to do an exercise with you guys. This is something I didn't want. I was just gonna save it because it's kind of just like a bullshit. It was fun. I did it. I saw it online. I'm like, you know what? I think the chat would have a field day with this. Before we get to mailbag, we got about 10 minutes left. You guys know these. Build your dream lineup with $15. I love these. I used to do these all the time when I see them. I don't see them much anymore, but I saw this. You have $15 to build a lineup. All right. What are you guys doing? Because for me, and I'll go first, I'll let you guys think. There's a lot of good players. I mean, the quarterbacks.
I got mine ready.
Oh, he already has it. Okay.
Gentry, I'll let you go because I don't.
Yeah, you go first. You go first.
I'm doing Aaron Rodgers, AP, Marvin Harrison, Chad Johnson, and then Todd Heap. Aaron Rodgers don't use his tight ends anyways. He can use Todd Heap when he needs to. He's good at blocking. You got the second best RB on this list, and you got Marvin Harrison, solid. Chad Ochocinco can do it all.
Damn,
that's the list.
Pretty good.
3 4s, right down the row. Chad Johnson, Todd Heap.
What about you, Boone?
Jeff, you go. I'm still looking here. I didn't have one.
So when I first looked at this list, this is what's hard when you actually do these, because when I actually sit and think, I'm like, well, I want Tom. I want Tom Brady. All right, so there's already $5. I wanted Barry, but that's expensive. He's expensive. I will admit. I'm gonna do Chad though. Chad Johnson. I'm doing Ocho. So I'm already at 7. All right. So running back, I'm gonna do Frank Gore for running back. Okay. So I'm at 9. I'm gonna do Jerry Rice. All right. So I'm gonna do Jerry Rice. That's 5, and then I'm gonna do Todd Heap. So he didn't get him a great tight end, but I got Jerry Rice, Ocho, Tom Brady, Frank Gore, and Todd Heap. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm doing. You ain't stopping this lineup. Tom Brady, Ocho, and Jerry Rice. Come on. Best feet. That sounds weird, but quickest feet. I'll go that route. Quickest feet in NFL history. Good luck guarding Ocho. You got Jerry Rice, the GOAT, and you got another GOAT in Tom Brady. Frank Gore ain't no joke either.
Oh, I've got one. I've got a good lineup. I've got a good lineup here, boys.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
By the way, I'm looking at Roddy White right now. His stats. That dude is absolute dog, dude. Absolute dog. Yeah, why don't you give Roddy White Tom Brady? Give me that. That's what, $5 Tom Brady. Roddy White, that's $6. How about we do this? What was Tom Brady really good at in winning Super Bowls? What did he have? Control the clock. Run the football. Throw the ball to Roddy White. Throw the ball to Roddy White. Run the football. You know who you're giving me? Give me AP. Adrian Peterson, one of the best of all time. Tom Brady, Adrian Peterson, Roddy White. And guess what? Another great wide receiver, one of the best of all time. First ballot Hall of Famer, I'm sure, Chad Ochocinco. Give him had Roddy White, Chad Ochocinco, AP in the back, Tom Brady. And guess what I'm going to finish it off with here? Are you ready for this one?
So easy.
One of the greatest ones as well, Greg Olsen. Give me Greg Olsen there. Put Greg Olsen in there with Roddy White, Chad Ochocinco, AP, Tom Brady. I'm going to go back to back.
That's nice. It's nice.
What an absolute squad there, huh?
I'm going to be honest.
Michael's Booner really trying to guess at Roddy White. But he has Tom Brady. If he has Tom Brady, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyone
Roddy
with Tom
White.
Brady.
Hey, Roddy was good, man.
Yeah, Roddy. No, Roddy had he was nice.
That dude used to be unstoppable in Madden too.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
He had 3 seasons, 1,300 plus yard.
Well, he had like a stretch in his career where he was on a tear.
Dude.
But yeah, if you play with Brady, I mean,
and AP to run the ball, and then you put Chad Ochocinco in there. Oh my God!
Isn't that what you had, Jeff? What Etienne?
Yeah, I had Tom, Frank Gore, and then I had Jerry Rice, Ocho, and Todd Heap.
Yeah.
So whoever you have at DB is fried rice.
I'm being honest. Just give me Tom, give me Barry. Hey,
come on.
Tom Brady, Barry Sanders, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski. I'll file for bankruptcy right after. I don't care. I'll spend the money.
Hey, I'll say this, Mike. Your team's making a deep playoff run, falling short.
Yeah, right.
Aaron Rodgers match up with me or Boone.
Yeah, where is Kelvin Johnson in this?
You know Aaron Rodgers. He ain't getting over that hump.
Come on now.
He goes, I know.
Aaron Rodgers, AP. Who is it? Who else did I have? I had Marvin Harrison too. Hell yeah.
That was
Cinco. Come on.
You had a good team.
That offense cooking.
Todd Heap is a funny one. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Oh wait, Etienne and me had the same team. Damn.
Yeah, that's what Gentry said. I think you and Etienne have the same team.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, yeah,
man.
Man, my bad. Damn, shout out to Etienne. The great minds think alike there. Adam says Kurt Warner, Thomas, Marvin, Fitz, and Heap.
I mean, what does that add up to? I think he might have some money left.
Warner 3, Thomas 3. So that's 6. Marvin 4, 10. Fitz
it's a bad
4, and Heap. Yeah, that's 15.
You've got some names in there, but it's still like, I thought you had more money left. That's how bad your team was.
Yeah, he saved $1.
Yeah. Like what? That's wild, dude.
Saved $1. Oh my gosh. I had fun with I did this exercise, man. These used to get me. I don't know how there's so many more of these that are out there.
Warner's a Super Bowl champion, and so is Rodgers and Brady. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, well, if I have Brady, you're losing. That's just how it works. We'll get Mailbag started. So
Warner is a dog.
Get your questions ready. Adam says, in a universe without Brady, give me Warner over all those guys on that.
Hey, well, guess what, brother? There's a universe with Brady, and you're living in it.
Man, with what? That's fair. I think Kurt Warner actually commented on the the post.
Did he?
He was chiming in. Yeah.
I watched a video of him the other day, and I mean, his career is unbelievable. I watched like a 20-minute video about him, and it was just that man. He went through a lot, and he ended up winning a Super Bowl, and then he ended up making a comeback in Arizona. It was just his whole story is incredible.
Yeah, well, I see people chiming. I mean, Stephen David has Kurt Warner, Barry, Ocho, Moss, Heap.
I don't think Kurt Warner's a bad pick at all, too. I think that's a great pick.
He had Randy and Ocho and Barry with Kurt Warner. That's nasty.
Yeah.
That's a good lineup. Hell, that's
Heap's getting love, man.
He's the dollar tight end. I mean, hey, shout out Todd Heap.
I wanted to get Jason Witten. It's my guy.
Yeah, Todd Heap, he had some years, too. He had some years in the NFL. All right. Yeah. Todd Heap ain't no slouch.
Why is it like Antonio Gates or something, or Tony Gonzalez on that list? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty sure every player was retired on that list, but Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know.
Yeah, that Joe Flacco. Nobody picking Joe Flacco.
In his prime?
Don't sleep on Joe for the buck. Are you kidding me?
Sleep on Joe?
He's a fellow Italian, too, but I'm sleeping on him. Sorry, Joe.
Gunslingers. Get him 2 $5 wide receivers. Fuck it.
Yeah. Hey,
honestly.
Respect.
2 $5 wide receivers in a defense. You're locked in.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. Patty Grimes, Mailbag. Can you guys chip in and get Lucas Michigan internet? So I see this question a lot. It's like, guys, help out Lucas. Trust me, we're trying to help out Lucas. We don't like him disconnecting either. So we got it. We're looking at some potential solutions right now.
It's Toledo. It's a tough spot to find internet, but we're gonna find some.
Yeah, yeah. He's out there in Toledo. I know, but we're trying. Trust me. We'll have that situation resolved, and we're just gonna get him either a hotspot or some sort of Wi-Fi booster. But we want to make sure he's taken care of. He's very valuable to the show. We don't want him disconnecting. Bulls turn, Mailbag. Outside of Goff going down with an injury, who's the next player injured that would hurt the team the most? That's easy. Actually, no, it's not easy. There's 2. And I don't know where you guys are at. I think it's either Hutchinson or it's Frank Ragnow.
Wow. Yeah, I think I actually, you know what? Actually, I almost want to say Panay.
Yeah.
Almost want to say Panay. Because who are you putting in that tackle there? Because with Frank goes down, and then I know Frank, and I already said the thing today where I know Frank, when he goes down, it's a lot different of an offensive line because he's making calls and he's calling out, he's doing everything. But you move Graham over there, who's a little more experienced, and then what you can bring in someone at guard there. But if Panay goes down, who's coming in from Panay that's going to even give you anything close to that? There's probably no one. No one. Honestly. Who? Do you guys have a name for me?
Can you imagine the defensive line without Hutch?
Or Amon-Ra. I mean, no Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra's
a big
one
there's a couple guys.
I mean,
that's probably not a good thing, but hey.
It depends. Like, Amon-Ra's gone down for a game or two, and like some guys have stepped up because you have the offensive line and you have like Ben Johnson being conservative. So, but if it's a long-term thing, Amon-Ra one is a tough one. Iranian.
Adam says, Mailbag, can you confirm or deny that Lukas missed the show because he was involved in the Iranian president, in quotations, accident?
Did something happen?
Mossad CIA. Well, I'm going to answer with the simple: I cannot confirm nor deny. We don't know Klotzy's whereabouts. So he could be out working with potentially the CIA.
Could be. Maybe
this show gets flagged all of a sudden now, but Klotzy, people don't know. Man's a double A. He lives a double life. He's a sneaky son of a bitch. I'll tell you that. Don't count him out.
Dude, is there something going on with the Iranian president accident? I need to kind of keep up on some things here.
Yeah, dude. Helicopter crash. It was like foggy weather. It was like kind of similar to.
Don't say.
I don't know. Actually, I don't think it's similar because there might be something behind it, but kind of like what happened to Kobe. It's like foggy weather. He goes down, but people are saying something maybe more to it.
R.I.P. Kobe. That's my guy.
Yeah,
love him.
Son of a LA traffic, fucking stupid, man.
Brutal. I like the Kurt Warner thing. I ran across the video yesterday. Actually, it was last night after the show. Like a 20-minute Kobe thing about the helicopter, and I watched the whole thing, and I was like, man, this sucks. I remember where I was when I found out about that.
Yeah.
Have I ever showed you guys the Gatorade bottle?
Do you have it?
Yeah, dude. I never showed you guys. The one time I went to go find it on show, and I never ended up getting it. I'll be back.
Weezy threw him 3 says, "Good show, boys. Y'all be smooth, man. We appreciate you, Weezy D.
Much love. Can we do this tomorrow?
What?
Read.
What?
That.
Oh, Keitho, Mailbag. What? When we going to do over under on all teams regular? You know what, Keitho? Yeah, I don't see why not. Let's do it tomorrow. It's a good idea, Mike.
Booner is gonna be down for that.
Over
What's
under
up?
All regular team.
Over under
season
on all
game.
teams tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, on NFC North teams, or do you want to do
all the teams?
Okay, yeah, we could do that. That's good. I like that. We should do a segment in the next couple of weeks. We should do NFC North record predictions, and we would have to go game, but not each of us, but like on our own. We have to go game by game so we can line it up correctly and everything. But I think we should do that. All right, you guys ready for this?
Okay.
This is the most prized possession maybe in the whole world. Kobe's last game at the Palace, I was down at the bench. And shout out Brittany. I don't know if Brittany ever knows who I am or remembers me, but I used to go to Pistons games like 30 minutes from my house. And Brittany, I would go to like 20 a year. And I knew her. She'd let us come down, do whatever we wanted to, grab towels, whatever. Lakers game, all the boys, me and three of my friends. Brittany said, "Go ahead, fellas. Go to the bench. Grab what you get. Got 20 seconds. Grab some Gatorade bottles. Grab some towels. We get back up in the stands, everyone, because on the Gatorade bottles, they used to write the number at the top with a Sharpie, so everyone knew who it was back in the day. We start looking at our numbers. Who do we all get? Boys, number 24, Kobe Bean Bryant. Gatorade's still in there. Drank that much out of it. Have not opened it since. This is like one of the most. This is a Kobe Bryant Gatorade bottle drinking out of by Kobe Bryant. Number 24 at the top. Have not opened. I've had it since like probably 12 years now. I'm surprised the Gatorade's not molded or anything. Never opened it. Have not opened it.
How
crazy is that?
That is wild, actually.
24. That's not a joke either.
I know you've told me about that. I've known about that bottle ever since I met you because you've always talked about
where do you keep that so no one throws it away?
I won't tell. No, people know. Like, dude, I had it in college. It was on my nightstand in college, and I've always let people know. There were times where I had to put it away into a cabinet. You know, if there was something going on at our apartment, I had to put it away just to be safe. But it is like it's my most prized possession. Like, if there's like ever, like, if I have an apartment or a house when I get older and there's like a fire or anything, the only thing I'll go and get is the Kobe Bryant Gatorade.
Yeah,
I know exactly where it's at.
That's a risky move, leaving it on the nightstand. You may wake up in the middle of the night.
Well, now it sits by my TV now. Like, I have it like set up in a nice spot to where it's like on display.
Okay. Michael says Booner's grandkids are going to sell that for a spaceship one day.
Yeah. I don't know how to get it like verified or anything like that. It's just like, I guess it's just something that people have to trust of me, but I guess maybe I should get that like certified, or I don't know. I've had it, dude. It was one of the best days of my life. My friend that gave us the tickets when we all had it, like, he had like, who's the one guy, Earl Clark or something that used to play for the Lakers, like Swaggy P, like there was like, everyone had so many different numbers, and my friend that got us the tickets was like, you have to give that to me right now, like that. I got you the tickets, that's mine. And nope, hung on to it for my life. It's actually incredible that I have this,
dude. Imagine like something. How pissed would you be if someone was at your house, you're like, yo, can I have a sip of this Gatorade? And he just had some Gatorade.
I would be really mad. I'd probably hurt him, whoever it was.
Have you ever thought about taking a sip out of it?
Hurt him.
Taking a sip out of it? No.
What if you just turn into an absolute dog on the court?
Yeah. A lot of people say that to me.
Stuff.
It's like smelling salts. You just open it. It just goes out there and he's just getting buckets immediately. It's like that. You know what, Booner?
Dude, honestly, people are putting in here, that might be like one of the last DNA things of Kobe ever left on the planet. Like, if you actually think about it. Like, his family probably has some things. Maybe there's DNA here and there, but like, how many people?
Weird.
But no, like, seriously, how many people in the entire world? How many people in the entire world have some sort of DNA of Kobe Bryant right now? I'm probably like one of like 20. That's one of the more incredible things.
Less than that, like, there's not 20 people that just have shit with his DNA on it.
I probably one of the most rare. This might be one of the most rare artifacts in the world. Honestly, for thinking sports history.
If you sold that, would you have to get like a DNA test like submitted with it to be like,
I guess
like this is him, bro?
I don't know, because I don't want to open it.
Kobe Bean Bryant. Man, Boone.
That's like one of the
badass. That's very badass, man. That is badass.
That's great. I have Kobe Bryant's DNA. I sleep next to it every night.
Oh, whoa.
That's because I'm a dog. Mamba mentality.
Well, the way that
No, don't take that weird. Don't ever take anything with the name Kobe Bryant in it weird like that again.
Sleeping next to who's DNA? God.
Respect. Put respect on it. Come on.
Jeez. Damn, what a way to end the show.
If anyone has an idea though, message me on Twitter of what I could do with that. I've had it forever, so I don't know really what to do.
Yeah, that's wild.
So once I get it tested for the DNA.
I don't even know how to go about that, to be honest.
Yeah, fuck if I know. That's
Travis, force him on your face, bro. You can have that, dude.
Tyler said this should be in a museum. Like, honestly, this is like one of the more rare Kobe artifacts of all time.
Forgot to say no Diddy, bro.
You should try and sell it to a museum.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. It's like if someone offered me $1 million, I'm not gonna lie, I might say no. I definitely potentially would say no. Dead serious. I'm being dead serious, dude. It's like one of my favorite things in my life. Think about that, dude. As a little kid, you guys don't understand. Like, Kobe,
I think someone shows you like 100-200 grand cash in front of
I would say no.
That bottle on the ground if they ask you to.
I would say no. I promise you guys.
What is
I don't think you guys understand how much Kobe had meant to me growing up. Like, that was I wouldn't be who I am without Kobe Bryant. As weird as it sounds, this is like, look at this boy.
I mean, I get it. There is collectible items that people like they hold close to them, so I could get it.
I don't know, dude. $1 million, I would have to really consider it. If it's crazy.
$1 million, I would take it from you and swap it out, right? 24 on a different bottle.
eBay selling one 2,500. Is that real? Is there like multiple? Like, is this like a thing?
I'm looking
what
it up.
the hell? For three G's, hell no. Yeah, you ain't getting rid of that thing for 3.
I don't think they're selling it.
Like a.
I mean, there's a 2011 Kobe. You know what's crazy? I'm gonna send you a picture real quick, Jeff. Do you want to know what's crazy?
One.
This is how you know there is one actually. 2,500. Do you know what's crazy? Is Jeff? I'm gonna send you this picture in our group, and you can pull it up. This is how you guys know this is real. Oh no, I just said to Broderick Martin.
Wait, what is it?
I just sent it to you. This is how you know it's real.
Oh, you have a certificate. Okay, I'll show this to the people.
I don't have the certification, but like, it just shows that they actually wrote the 24 at the top, and he drank the small orange Gatorade. It's literally the same thing.
So you have this. This is what a way to end the show. What the hell? This is crazy. All right, look at this.
Just so if you guys are like, oh, Booner, you're lying. You made this up. There it is. Someone else has the same thing. It's written different, but I'm sure they have like different people, each water boys and stuff, who write it differently.
That one's got like condensation in it too. Damn.
Yeah. Mine probably did at one point.
Hey. You know what, Boone?
It's going for 2,500.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, Booner, you wouldn't. I'd say $2,500.
And I'm keeping it for $1 million.
Yeah, it's worth. Yeah, it's a nice item. All right. Well, we appreciate you.
It's so random though. That's
I know. What a way to end the show. We appreciate all of you for taking time out of your night tuning into the fellas. Even if you're watching the day after or 2 days after, whenever that is, we appreciate you. If you're listening, we appreciate you. Leave the 5-star review if you're listening, and don't forget to subscribe. I think we're about 100 away from 7,000 subscribers. So thanks to you guys. We are continuing to grow. Until tomorrow, it'll be Wednesdays with John Macker and the Doc.
Ooh, big day.
But until then, we appreciate all you. ETN, Crazy Clown, Ryan, Detroit Supremacy, Keitho. We got Adam in here as well. That guy up north, Blue Lantern, Tyler, John, Hughes, Xavier D, Michael, all you guys. Coach Walk, ECL, MJ. Till tomorrow. We'll see you. Stay blessed.
Peace.
Deuces.